What is up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. This is the first episode of the Tuesday Night Art Jam. Today, we're going to be talking about art. You're going to be seeing some art, and maybe we get some artists on. But overall, just a chill hangout where we just hang out. Okay, before we get started, let's turn this thing on. There we go. Hail, Dragon Pisces. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. And I also have another brother in the back. Let's go ahead and we're going to add him to the stream. Hopefully he's around. 80s made consumer. 80s.
Hey, what's up, brother?
My man. How you doing today or tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm going to turn the sound up a little bit. The heat just kicked on. It's been cold up here. And we're in Virginia, so I'm expecting it to not be cold. Mm-hmm. I've been wearing sweatpants, and it's been ridiculous. So, yeah, as soon as you started talking, the heat kicked on. I was like, oh, man, I can't hear him. So how do I sound?
Good. You sound good.
Okay, so yesterday, I don't know if you caught the stream yesterday. It was horrible, man. Like, my camera went out, because this is a different camera than I normally use. So okay. I had this old camcorder. It's not really that old, but I got it when I got married, but we never used it. It just sat in the closet. And so then I was just like, man, I said, this one camera I got, it's okay, but it's a little off. It's a little bright. Like, even with it, I don't know if you've noticed the other ones are like really bright. So I was like, I don't know if I like it, but I wanted to get a camera down facing. So I could, open up my books, open up packages, and have it right here on the desk and get the arm and everything. So I was like, you know what? I was looking to buy another camera, and I was like, I had that in the closet. I was like, it's HD. It's ready to go. It works. I hooked it up, and then I jerry-rigged this tripod I got. So it's like wicked high. So if I look into it, like you see my glasses. So I'm not really looking at it, but it's working all right. And I got the boom arms coming. So I was going to try it out last night. So I tried it out, and as I'm like, I move my hands because I talk my hands. I move my hands like it looks like it was like black lines. Remember the scan lines from the old CRT TVs? Uh-huh. That's what it looked like in my fingers, like on the screen, like in the stream. I said, "What the heck is that?" So I walked over here. I was like, "Click," and as soon as I clicked the setting, like the whole thing went black and white. and then my sound was all fucked up. Like it sounded like I was in a tin can. And so Odin had perfect sound last night. He popped in. He had perfect sound, and I sounded like I was in a tin can. And then so I went to go fix that. And first I couldn't hear him. That was the one thing. They all said they could hear me, but I couldn't hear him whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And so I went to go check my settings because like my daughter messes up stuff all the time. She's always pushing buttons. But I know because I was trying to do this camera, I was messing some things up. And what how when we turned on the two cameras, you hear that like. You heard that background, squeaking noise that was making the echo.
Okay, yeah.
So it had done that, and what had happened was I upgraded the plan from the, I had the basic upgrade plan, and then I upgraded. I went into the full HD 1080p plan. I upgraded, but they give you like a 7-day trial period or whatever, and it didn't automatically renew. So yesterday, it just went back to the regular, plan that I was in. It didn't tell me and everything, so I didn't realize. So then I went to the two cameras. It messed everything up. The settings were all screwed up. So then when I popped back on, my sound was messed up for like most of the show. It sounded like I was in a tin can. People watched. People hung out. The video's got over 100 views now. Nice. And people hung out for a couple hours. And then, but it wasn't towards the end of my video that it kind of worked itself out and I sounded better.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a rough day.
See what happens when I don't show up. You start having technical difficulties, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, that's what I put in the title. I said technical difficulties, camera, sound, everything was all messed up. So that's how I titled it after the fact.
Nice.
So we got some people in the chat. You want to say hi?
Yeah. I said, hey to Dragons Pisces. Earth's Best Entertainment is there. If you haven't checked him out, maybe he can throw up his link. Let's see. You know what?
You didn't make anybody mods. That's the thing.
I don't have any mods. I'm a mod list.
Yeah, it was breaking your chops. I said I didn't get a wrench. The easiest way to do it right now. Do you have the window pulled up? Just click right in there and you're good.
I do.
Because the other way is a pain in the butt. You got to like go into your YouTube studio and like go into this back door thing in the settings. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, let's see. You know what I'll do? I'll make you. Let's see. Yeah, I got you. 80s, you're a moderator now.
Oh, good.
You're good. So we got that. So Earth's Best Entertainment. Yeah, he does indie comics as well. I think he was working on some stuff for Free Comic Day, which was pretty neat. So let's see.
Am I following him? I might be already subbed to him. Let me check it out. No, I'm not. I'll sub right now.
And then let's
check, brother. All right, so Earth's Best, I subbed right now, and then let's get your get you in there.
Yeah, see if we can throw his channel up so people can see his channel.
Oh, you want to bring it in?
No, if you could put maybe the link. Let's drop
I'm
the
putting
link
the link in right now. Yep.
Yeah, let's drop the link in there.
Yep. Yeah, I was ahead of you, and then you confused me. I thought you wanted. I thought you wanted it on the screen. Yeah, I already got it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, go check out that dude's channel. So you say he's making a comic?
Yeah, actually, he does he has maybe like 2 or 3 issues, I think. Don't quote me. I'm ignorant to it, but I know he does. I think he has like 3 issues of Earth's Best Friends is what the title is, and he sent me some pictures that I'm going to get around to maybe drawing 1 or 2 of his characters just for
All right,
fun.
Yeah. I subbed. No problem, brother.
Cool.
Yeah, we took care of you. Let's see.
Yeah, we got you.
Got Dragon Pisces in there. Yep. All right. Awesome. I don't know. For some reason, maybe I saw the dude. Did he sub to me? Maybe that was it. I saw the dude's avatar before, so maybe it was on Twitter or something. But I just went in and I wasn't sub, but I am now. So
that's cool. I'm sub to it. Unfortunately, he invited me on to stream on Saturday, but I was off that day, but I had plans, so it was family day.
Gotcha.
That was our Mother's Day. Was Saturday because I was working Sunday, so we pretty much were out of town on Saturday, so I couldn't get on the stream, but I shared it as much as I could and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely check out his stuff. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm sharing stuff. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's pull it up.
Okay. So last night on the stream, they were talking. We got a hold of. We're going to talk about it on Saturday, but a couple different comic books and places to check out and things I've heard about before. But some of the stuff we've been talking about, like less expensive floppies, we're talking like $2, $3 floppies. And then when we're talking about in the chat, I had heard of them, Alterna Comics. And then they, some of the people in the chat had no idea who they were. So then, that's a good thing. So we're going to push that out and people are getting excited. And then it's on the cheaper dollar route. You can grab for $35. You can grab a whole bunch of comics.
Oh, cool.
And they got a website and everything. We're gonna check it out on Saturday. So.
Oh yeah, because I know they've been around for a few years now, and that's they've been putting out a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. No, I need to get and some of the stuff I've seen, just from what I've seen already, I'm excited.
Cool. Let's see. I'm trying to Google it, but I'm not. Let's try.
Earth's Best Entertainment says, 3 books. Book 3 is out soon, and the first 2 are available. Cool. We'll have to take a look at those and talk about those on Saturday. Or we can talk about them today. It don't matter to me.
I just gotta throw that up real quick. Let's stop that. Yeah, they're like you hit your limits. I'm burning out that free. I'm burning out that the free as I got, and then I think I'm gonna go pro once I do some more.
Yeah, it's worth it because when you look at it, you're trying to build your channel, you're trying to build your thing, and so it's a little bit of an out of pocket cost, but we don't stream, we don't pay for all that extra stuff, so just that little bit of extra money to do this and make it a business, and you get a better picture. Like I'm just looking at myself right now, I'm already looking better.
That's the next thing I'm gonna get.
Paying for it.
That's the next thing I'm gonna get is I'm gonna get some nicer lights. I dropped my monitor, so I'm not looking like this.
Yeah. No, I noticed that. No, and your background looks real sharp.
Yeah, it came up pretty nice. So it's coming out pretty nice.
And then Odin fixed his background. He didn't do anything. All he did was turn off that one light, and instantly it's cleared up and nice.
Yeah.
He's got that map behind him, and his TV reflects on it, so then it gives him the same feature that we have with the lights back there, but it's just a reflection from his TV or his monitor or something. So it works. It totally works. It was a much better picture. And then he fixed his sound yesterday, and then I was all screwed up. Yep. No, so we had a good time. We were just talking about horror comedies and that type of stuff yesterday. Nothing crazy. Had a bunch of people pop in, and that's about it, man. It was just we only did a 3-hour last night. Nothing crazy.
It's so easy to go long. It is so easy.
It really is. And that's the thing is because a bunch of the bigger guys were streaming last night. So then around the 3-hour mark, pretty much everybody bounced, and Odin had to get up early in the morning, and take care of that. So that's what he said. He said he's going to be during the week and stuff. He doesn't mind popping on because he's on the West Coast there. So it's a little bit better,
Yeah, much better. Yeah, we're on
so
the
then
East
even
Coast.
though we go late, it's not as late for him. So even
Mhm.
though, and he's still got to bounce. So he stayed a couple hours, like maybe like 2 hours, I think. And then he had to go to bed, and because he gets up at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And then I told him that we were doing this today. I don't know if you sent him the invite or not, but
I
I invited
did.
him.
He said he's gonna try and pop in, so I did.
Yeah,
Send
he
him
said he had something. He's got this cool thing. Like, so where he is, there's pretty sure he said Spokane, but anyway, where he is, there's a movie theater, an old movie theater, and for $2, you get to see old movies. And so that's what he was doing. I think he was going to go see. He said The Watchmen. So that's a long one. So
yeah,
he said he might pop in or whatever.
So let's take a look at here. This is Earth's Best Entertainment. The website is earthsbestfriends.co. Looks like they got 3 books. I think he said that they just dropped the chat ad. I see I full screen it, but then they get rid of the chat on me. So I don't know why they do that.
I got some chat here.
Chat. Okay.
Oh, I found out. So the only way you could do what we were talking about is making one of us the admin, is we have to have each other's passwords to sign into each other's account. So you can sign into my account, and that's the only way you could have admin access.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, if you should be able to give somebody a wrench on here, and then they can
right,
do whatever.
Right. Because you're not trying to change anything. All you're trying to do is pull up chats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just trying to. Yeah, you could pull up chats, so make stuff a lot easier. But I got
right. No. That's the only way to do it, and I guess like bigger streamers and bigger people do that because the whole thing is like under a business. It's not just 2 dudes in their houses,
Yeah.
So they look at it that way. So then everybody has access to it, and they have one person that's just dedicated to pulling up chats and that type of stuff. And it's just like, must be nice to have a crew.
Yeah, right. Let's see what we got here to the season 1 pass. Let's see. So it looks like you can buy the PDFs of the books for they have book 1 PDF available for $5, or you can get the book for $10. Let's see. Let me click on it. I want to see some. Want to see if they maybe give me some more art. Go back. Yeah, let's see. Maybe I'm clicking on the. Let's see. Learn more. Okay, it just drops me down. So it looks like they're pre-ordering book 3 right now. They have book 2 up, and they have some neat stuff here. Let's see what the Comic Books for Kids donation. You can purchase a copy of Earth's Best Friend to donate to Comic Books for Kids, an organization that gets toys and comic books to kids in hospitals. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I want to see more of the art here. Let's see. Michael Gotti. Cool. Here we go. We got some images. Let's see if we can blow those up here. Okay. Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
That's a cool
one. Yeah, I'm
one.
digging it. Is this, these just sketches, like character sketches, or is this part of the book? I think
they are. These are probably concept subs that he has.
Yeah,
I know the ones that he sent me. I think Earth's Best Friend.
It seems like a cool character. What she got, like elf ears, some vampire teeth?
Yeah,
there's something going on there.
Daughter of Dracula is what it says here.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There we go. So I think this is all concepts for other stories. I think the thing he's working right now is Earth's Best Friend, which are like, from what I understand, the brief thing that I skimmed was like characters, like teenage kids that turn into like cats, and each cat has like a superpower element.
Okay.
So let's see if I can find some of those here. Let's scroll down a bit. So yeah, okay. Yeah, here's one of them, from what I understand. So the kids, from what I understand, they turn into the cats. Dr. Quacko. Made me laugh. Here's another one.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Is there like a synopsis of his story or something?
Probably. Let's see. But Earth's Best Friends is a superhero anthology of epic proportion. It is about various superheroes that must eventually come together to save the world from evil. This is a family-friendly superhero anthology that delivers multiple stories. Yeah, hyper feline ninja heroes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, put that in chat.
You know what? Here, hold on. If you're interested in popping on, EB, let me know. I'll just send you the link because we follow each other on Twitter. You'll do a much better job than me right now.
Yeah, explain it to us.
Yeah, exactly. Please, in layman's terms.
Or I can fumble through it. I've never seen this before. I can just make some stuff up. Let's
So it
see.
seems pretty. But from what I
Yeah,
understand,
it's
the
looking
stuff that
pretty
I
cool. I
seen,
like that type of stuff. I like monsters. You know that.
yeah.
I'm
It's
in.
more from what I get. It's like an anthropomorphic Power Rangers type is what I get. Each one has a different element. Like it looks like Sky here is wind, and then you
Yeah.
have the I think she is Bibby is water and stuff like that. So let's see, and then Rosie is plant. So she's probably like a plant or I won't call that Earth, but you know, she's like the plant lady.
Yeah.
So and here's another one. Here's Fury, which is the fire guy. So I'd like to see some panels. Maybe it's just
Cool.
someplace I
Yeah,
can go.
yeah,
I've seen him before. I just don't know where I saw him at. If it was on Twitter or Instagram, because he followed me, so I followed him back and stuff. And it's kind of neat to see what other creators are doing.
Oh, definitely. That's how I found you guys. That's how I found you and Odin. It was like through Twitter, like that whole like follow each other thing. And I'm like, hey, these guys are cool. That's pretty much how it works. Because when I look at my analytics, like 90% of anybody that comes to my channel is from Twitter. Yeah.
Hold that thought. He'll pop in a second. Cool. I'll shoot him the link. My daughter needs Octonauts back on. I'll be right back.
Okay. And he told me to hold that thought. He could have just told me to keep talking, carry on the show. Like hold that thought means be quiet. That's the worst thing to have is dead air. Let's see. So yeah, no, this looks pretty cool, even though I can't show anybody anything. I'm totally into monsters. I like Universal Monsters. I grew up watching that type of stuff, and so anything that has to do with that. And then I've always liked when I was a kid, I liked all those like creepy cartoons. You know, anything to do with like Tales from the Crypt. And then there was this one, man. It was real fun. It had it didn't last long. It was about some kind of school. Rick Moranis was in it. I have to look it up now. That was a fun one. But yeah, so I remember all that type of stuff. And monsters is my jam. Let's see. Pull up IMDb. Let's see about that. Rick Moranis was in that cartoon. You remember that? There was a cartoon when we were kids. Rick Moranis was in it. I mean, he was the voice of the one, and it was just like it was a school for monsters, but it didn't last long. It was only one season. I'm gonna look it up right now.
No. You know, what's a great channel for stuff like that? Is Toy Galaxy.
Yeah.
On YouTube. If you're not following Toy Galaxy, man, they are awesome. They are so
really. I just followed a whole bunch of toy guys today. So maybe.
Yeah, their production is like top notch, but they'll talk about shows too. So it's called Toy Galaxy, but they'll talk about like I think what I just watched. They just did one on Battletoads where they talk about the Battletoads and how it started and then the game, but then also the cartoon. They did one on they did Ninja Turtles. They do a lot of the heavy hitters. They did Captain Power. Was another one that I was looking at. Because you said they did Galaxy High. That's what reminded me. Here's what
it's called. It's called Gravedale High.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, pull this up here. I'll show you this. Let's see. Wrong one.
Well, you get that ready. I'll go ahead and add Earth's Best Entertainment. Let's add him to the string. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. I hope we're not too late for you.
No, I work overnight, so it's like I'm just I can't be on too long because I'm kind of at work, but
no problem.
But yeah, I'm up all night because of it.
Yeah, you can pop this in real quick. I'm not gonna do anything else, just the picture of it, and then we can talk about his stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember this. It only lasted like one season, maybe not even a full show. But Rick Moranis, and that's how I remember. That's exactly how they sold it was Rick Moranis, and that's what they talked about every time they did the commercials for it. Huh. He was this main character here, the one right here with the glasses and stuff. That was Rick Moranis, and then he was this like teacher or principal or something for all the monsters. Okay. And I just remember being a kid and thinking it was the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, that's awesome.
And looking at it now, I'm like, the art's not that great. When I was a kid, man, it was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you go back and look at stuff. Like I remember like Thundercats being so neat, and then it was the opening that was in your brain.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
90 to 91, and it only had 13 episodes, so one whole season. That was it.
Yeah. I was gonna say it has that like early 90s like Saturday morning cartoon look to it.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Saturday morning cartoons. Yep. No, it was yeah. I remember being really fun, and I remember there was like it was crazy too. It was like it was the episode, whatever episode before it went off the air. Because I actually think like when they first started it, I don't think it like stayed on whatever channel that was playing. I think it got moved around or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember only watching a couple episodes, and then there was like one Saturday I did something that made my mom mad, and she told me to go stand in the corner, and so I didn't get to watch the episode, and then it was never on again.
I wonder if it's on YouTube.
That's probably why I remember what the damn show was. All right, so let's learn about this this book here, man.
Yeah, where can we see some art? You tell me what to share.
Absolutely.
EB, we'll go ahead and share that. So,
yeah, if you go to my Instagram at Earth's Best Entertainment, you'll see a lot more artwork because the website's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure out like what I should do with it and stuff.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like I have a little bit of randomness kind of going on. Like a lot of those characters that you were looking at, like they're not even in the book right now. They're probably a little bit later as things go on, but
okay.
So when I say anthology, I kind of use that term lightly because it's like I'm kind of going for like this mixed Saturday morning cartoon feel where it's like sometimes you read a chapter about the hyperfeline ninja heroes, and then other times you're reading about the animal teens, and then other times you'll see like Super Steak, which is my avatar here.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll see some well, maybe not recently, but I know I've put up like pages and stuff over the last couple of months of like, and just some random stuff too. So like you'll I just recently, yeah, so like there's that page right there.
Okay.
So this was in a chapter called Halloween Ruckus, and it's the first page. So what you have here is the kids who turn into the hyperfeline ninja heroes. From left to right, there's Chloe, Celie, Jackson, Lacey. These characters are actually based off my kids and my nephew and niece. So Chloe and Celie are my kids, and then Jackson and Lacey are my nephew and niece. And
you're supposed to be.
So yeah.
Sorry.
I know how that goes. No, I know how that goes. Trust me, I got.
You want to say hi? Okay, come on. You can say hi.
Hey there.
Say hello. This is the Kirby ball I made her.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, you got that out of your system. Now it's bedtime. You should have been in bed already, sweetie. Okay, yeah. Cool. And who's the art? The artist is Gene Pedroso.
Gene Pedroso, yeah, he's in my avatar. It shows his name in it because he just randomly drew this avatar for me, and I'm like, dude, I love you. Like, like he just drew it, like no charge, just hey, you could have this. I'm like, I love it. Cool. I got the best team right now, so
scroll down.
Yeah, so I've got.
Is this some more design work here?
Yeah, so that's an early like a sketch of one page called Legends. So sometimes throughout the book I'll have just like random one-off like couple pages, not really enough for me to call it a chapter, but I'll give it a title. Mm-hmm. So this is Legends. It kind of explains these not Infinity Stones, sacred stones.
Okay.
So it's like I know folks will always make that comparison when they live. Hey, didn't you? It's like I didn't even know what an Infinity Stone was when I wrote about these originally.
Like yeah, just drop them. Just don't do where they got 8. So how many they got?
Yeah, there's 4 of them. Yeah,
drop the number down, call it something else. You're good, man.
Yeah, exactly. I just call them a sacred stone. So
Now you don't mind me scrolling through this stuff, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
It's all public stuff anyway. It's all public stuff. So it's on my public Instagram. And so even though I don't draw, I do construct the covers together. Mm-hmm. So anything you see like covers or credit pages, that is me that's put them together.
Okay.
And
now let me ask you this: how come I know I see you put the panels on it? Why not one big image on the cover?
I'm not that skilled with Photoshop, so. Oh. When I put like big, I have made ones where I did try to put like just characters on it, but it doesn't seem to look as good. And folks have told me that, oh yeah, I like having the frames on the covers. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go with that.
Okay, cool. Just for me, seeing something like if you put a big, if I see a big, to me, in my opinion, I'm not trying to dog you or anything, but I think it looks more professional if you have a big, you know what I mean, like a cover.
Oh, I got you.
That's how it used to be back in the day. Is when I was buying comics, I'd look at the cover and you'd be like, "Oh, that's a cool cover," and I'd buy it. It'd be a Todd McFarlane cover, and then you open it up, and it's somebody who's not Todd McFarlane doing the art.
Right.
You're like, God, you're killing me, man. But anyway, the cover for me is the first thing. Oh, that looks interesting. Let me check it out. And then, or maybe make the logo smaller and maybe make the panels bigger.
The frames
in my
bigger.
opinion.
Okay.
Then you get to see more of the action. I think it'll make people more curious, because I'm just seeing. I love the border, like I'm pointing at it, like you can see it, like you're here with me, like a dummy. But I love the border around it, and like if the background is really cool, I would probably keep that as a border and then have, or maybe make the panels bigger. But I do like the colors that you're using on that, because that really calls my attention. Oh, cool. And then if you just maybe make the logo smaller, make the images bigger, I think you'll probably get more traffic on it, because then people will click on it. Because you got to understand, they're looking at thumbnails, they're not clicking on it.
Right.
If they see something interesting in the thumbnail, they'll click on it. So
So I didn't get that this was the cover, because and I wouldn't click on it at all. I just I didn't know that was a cover. I just thought that was like your thumbnail, your icons for your webpage or whatever to your different things. But I didn't realize.
Oh, I see.
And that's why, because I thought it was like a compilation. Like, hey, look, these are my panels. This is my art. That's my thing. But if you're trying to sell me that as a cover, I'm never going to look at it. And even if I had it in a bigger copy, like I'm in a store and I picked, I'm never going to look at that. So I don't know what you got, what your ability to change that is, but I would love to see. And I know Jay said that make those panels bigger and get it in there. But me, I'd like to see one of those panels be the whole cover.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, I can do that.
Yeah, make your Earth's best friend, make that logo smaller.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that homage there. The Indie Alliance approved there. I like that. That's kind of cool. And again, make that a little bit smaller, just like they had the Comics Code Authority. Those ones weren't that big. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's true. Sometimes they were kind of micro.
Yeah, true. Make that smaller, because it's a really cool homage. Like, it's going to give you that familiarity. And so people are looking at that. If you just switch your layout a little bit differently, grab a couple of them older comics that do have that Comics Code Authority on there, and just obviously don't try to copy it, but just try to pull some inspiration from there. But I mean, me personally, if you throw on that, what's that one with the snake there? If that's the entire cover, I'm in. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Imagine you shrink the logo. You shrink the logo, you have the snake, like that snake panel is almost the whole thing, and then you have that awesome background is almost like a border around the whole comic.
And no word balloons. No word balloons either. Just take the word balloon out. Just the snake image. That panel, that would be an awesome cover. And don't spend your money on variants, especially if you're starting out. No. Because we just learned that variants are crazy expensive.
Yeah, this is the reason why I do these minimalist covers. I can't afford to get people to do them for me.
No, I wasn't even talking about that part. I was talking about the printing part. When we just found out that when you go to print your book, so you can print this, and it'll cost you, $1,000 to print off a whole bunch of these. But then if you go, I want to do a variant cover, they charge you for the cost of a whole nother book. Even though it's really not,
it's got to be a second book. Yeah,
it's an extra charge. Like, you could print, say you printed 1,000 of these books right here, and it's going to cost you X dollars. You could tack on like another 1,000, and it's only going to cost you like a couple $100 more. But if you do a variant cover in like even a small print run, they charge you like that extra 1,000, saying it's a whole new book. Yeah. So don't do variant covers. We just found that out until you're getting like way bigger. And definitely just tweak this a little bit. I'm liking what I'm seeing though.
Okay, so Dragon Pisces asks here is an interview of an upcoming artist. This is Earth's Best Entertainment. He follows me on Twitter and Instagram. I follow him, and I know he does comics. And he popped in the chat, so I wanted to kind of get some more eyes, Let's get all 30 eyes of my subscribers on this.
Everybody hit the like button, and if we're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to JBot. This is cool, man.
Thank you.
So the whole premise, and I know you might have already said it, but I'm a one-track guy, and I was preoccupied over here. So the whole monster thing, what is it? What is that about?
You're talking about like the vampire, daughter of vampire, or the
is that a different story than this?
So they're all under the Earth's Best Friend title, but basically I have I use the term anthology because it's like you'll see stories with different characters doing different things, and eventually it kind of all crosses over, sort of stuff. So yeah, my main focus right now with the first couple books is these hyper feline ninja heroes.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much building
that's cool. I like that.
You're pretty much building a universe, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything-
And
everything
instead of doing
shared.
like multiple titles, it's just kind of like one title with multiple. Essentially, if I were to do like the single title route, it would be like Hyper Feline Ninja Heroes is one title, and then Animal Teens is another title, and then But I decided to a little more easier, digestible, especially for younger readers and stuff. And I've done a lot of listening to like comic guys and stuff saying like problem with American comics is it's really hard to follow. It's like you have to buy a million different things to understand what's going on. So it's kind of like streamlined,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So you're building a whole everything's a whole universe of characters. They're all the characters are going to be together, and then once people get familiar with them, then you can always do crossovers and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So you're kind of doing like I wouldn't necessarily call it kind of Marvel Comics Presents, but almost it feels one story, because Marvel Comics Presents had like 3 or 4 stories in it.
Yeah, it's one overarching story eventually, but they all are within the same universe and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool. So is this the guy with the sword who had the magic chaos emeralds?
The chaos emeralds, the whatever you want to call them, right? The seven stars from Mario. But so that's Ramiel. He'll be a villain eventually, and his story is pretty interesting. He's essentially a well, I don't want to go into it too much, but
yeah.
Don't spoil
the wraps. We don't want spoilers.
Yeah, he's pretty powerful. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think if you tweak your covers, you know what I mean. I think it will get more. I think it will get more eyes on them.
Now, how do I find this other than the webpage we're on now? Is this like an Indiegogo thing?
Well, I don't have any campaigns going right now, so just basically the website, or I guess, or personal messages through me personally, like on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. But other than that, that's basically it. Just purchase from the website.
Okay. Cool.
And what's the price point of these books?
I'm selling them for $10 each.
Okay.
Seems like a pretty standard price. Probably even lower than standard price. Seems like a lot of folks charge a little more than that, but I like to try to keep it, especially because my demographics are kids. I like to try to keep it in a nice like a $9.99 kind of range,
Okay. Is shipping on? Does that include shipping or not? No shipping on that.
That wouldn't be including shipping. Shipping would probably bump it up closer to 20 because shipping's so expensive these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, depending. I mean, I know a lot of the bigger guys don't do media mail, but books fall under media mail. It's a slower thing, but it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Because that's I got some. I'm going to send JBot some movies, and I'm not going to send them regular mail. I'm sending them media mail. So like books, textbooks, movies, magazines, like that, all that type of stuff gets under media mail. It's way cheaper, like a crazy amount cheaper. And then as long as it's those things, then it's packaged correctly. Because like VCR tapes are heavy as hell. And so like that type of thing gets put in there, big, heavy, like regular textbooks. That's really heavy. So like it'll take your price from like $50 down to like $3-4. It's like a crazy difference in the media.
I got a box for you, 80s. I got a box.
Good. You're gonna let me know how much that's going to cost. I'll send you the money.
Yeah, I might need a kidney from you. It depends.
I ordered. I ordered both of those. So I got the Black Cauldron's coming, and I just ordered the other one you haven't seen, Dark Crystal.
Okay.
So I couldn't find it. I don't know what you had. So I just assumed you were up on technology. So I got you the 4K version, and it's got the Blu-ray in there too, just in case you didn't have it, because like the regular Blu-ray was out. So and then it has the digital code. I know you're saying to do that, but
yeah,
I hooked you up there.
Yeah, we just watched Into the Spider-Verse last night because I bought that on Blu-ray. That came.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I love that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about it. I know a lot of the comic book guys, and a lot of the guys are like, I hate that movie. So I got mixed feelings about it. You know how my daughter is with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So she loves it. She doesn't care. She doesn't see anything other than Spider-Man. And so I understand about the whole, tokenized character and like everything about that. That literally is just Spider-Man, but it's feeding a certain audience on Twitter. Like that's who really cares about it. So I wasn't thrilled, but I've seen the movie a bunch of times because of my kid. And at its core, I think it's okay. That's where I feel about it. I feel it had potential, and even with doing all the spider characters and doing that whole thing, the only one I didn't like was the pig. Ham.
Like
That's funny because my son.
Come on, man, Spider Ham's class.
My son actually just the other day I took him to buy a comic book, and that was what he picked, Spider Ham.
Spider Ham, yeah. So I didn't mind the noir one. I thought that was actually pretty cool, and that's something I would read.
Yeah.
And Gwen, I like her as her drawn. I like the ladies. That's just my thing.
Yeah.
But as her being another spider person, I'm not into the spider people. Like.
Yeah.
It's Peter Parker and nobody. Like that's my attitude about it. But I didn't mind, and Nicolas Cage, he did the noir one, so those two things were cool. That Japanese one there, she was like in the robot.
That was weird, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was weird, but I enjoyed it.
That one came out of nowhere.
That was kind of cool to me because she wasn't really a spider person. She was, she had the robot. So to me, that was cool.
They have when I'm talking, I think early 2000s, they had Marvel was trying to tap into that manga craze, and so they had the Marvel manga verse, and they have a version of Spider-Man that's all ninjas. That he's a ninja, like he doesn't have spider powers, like he's a ninja, and he has the climbing claws on his hands, and he's like part of the Spider Clan and stuff. And it's like they bring in Venom and all types of stuff. It's actually pretty cool,
I'll check it out.
But like that one would have been pretty neat to see that one in there. Besides,
I don't know. I'm going to be forced to get the second one because my kid in Spider-Man. She's already seen the previews. She's already excited.
Well, they're dropping $20.99 in there, which I'm stoked. I loved Spider-Man $20.99 when he came out, so I'm stoked.
See, I like that. I liked that, and if they did a Spider-Man $20.99, I'd be into it.
Yeah. I feel like they did the Miles route right in the movie. Like if they didn't introduce Miles at all, and then they did this movie, and then you're like, cool. I think this is why a lot of people like Miles is because of the movie. I don't think people like Miles because of the books. I think they like the movie, and then they buy some of the books, and they're like, I like Miles Morales. Like I love him in the movie. He's a great character with his father and his uncle and his family. And
that right there is why I have the mixed feelings, right? Because it was done so well. I just have this negative thing in my mouth about the spider people. It's just, and that's all it is, and you can clearly see it. It's tokenization of all the characters, not just in one fashion. It's just you have all these spider people, and then you look at the core of the issue. It's so they can maintain the rights of some kind of spider character because they're probably going to lose the rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
well, that's exactly it. Sony's trying to keep the rights. They're holding on to it for dear life. And so just think about the core of the issue, right? Take away all of everything you know about Spider-Man, and you take all those spider people in the Spider-Verse. Every single one of them was cool. I don't like the pig though, but the pig could have been cool.
Yeah,
but I didn't like the pig. But just think about that though. Just think about the noir spider, the ghost spider, and I think that's a stupid name for her being a Spider-Man. I didn't mind Spider Gwen; that didn't bother me. But Ghost Spider, I don't know. For some reason, I don't like it. But
it does sound weird. It does
character design. I can agree with you. It's not like she's a ghost. It's not like she goes transparent.
It would make more sense if she had that ability that Miles has, where Miles can turn invisible, and then they call her Ghost Spider.
Exactly.
That would be freaking cool, and it would be smart. But the people that are behind this aren't really into it to be into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think they're trying to keep the GS initials, Gwen Stacy, Ghost Spider.
Yeah,
I think they were trying.
No, I picked up on that. You're right, but I just didn't like it, and so. At the core of it, though, I think that each one of those characters are pretty cool. Like you just give them a different power. I think they're drawn cool. I think it's a really neat idea. I guess it kind of works with the whole multiverse thing, but in reality, like Miles and Peter Parker are in the same universe, and then there's that whole thing. And I think that they did the origin in the movie good. I think they did it very well.
I liked seeing like that Spider-Man was great. Like before he died, like that Spider-Man was like, hey, like that was this. I felt like that was Spider-Man. Like this is the Spider-Man I grew up with. He's like, oh, you're like me. I'm gonna teach you. Let me go take care of this real quick. You know, he's cracking the jokes. He's zip.
That was 100% on point.
And then seeing the other Spider-Man, the jaded Spider-Man, come,
and that's the Spider-Man that we have in live action. You know, that kind of miserable, jaded, crappy Spider-Man. That's what we're getting in all the other movies.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but it's like, so he has an arc, like all arcs of the character, you know, especially those two Spider-Man. So I liked like that one coming around and stuff like that. So that's part of it too. They did Miles right, but I feel like they did all the characters right. I feel like especially Spider-Man, they did Spider-Man right. So Sony can make Spider-Man movies like that all day. I don't care.
Well, again, for me, that's why I'm torn.
Yeah,
because I don't like the tokenization, but I feel that the movie was okay. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of them. Like, it goes against my principles.
Yeah. So I
honestly,
don't even, I don't even count the comics in that. To me, that's its own thing. I love that movie. I like it more than but I'm an art whore too. So it's just artistically, it's great.
All right,
that's the same. All right,
so then here's the thing.
That's the same team that did the Emoji Movie. That goes to show you the range of that team of animators. They did the Emoji Movie, and then they did Into the Spider-Verse. And you're just like, wait, what?
I didn't even see that Emoji.
I mean, it looked like trash.
A mile away, so I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Here's a question: how do you feel about? And this is going to be a loaded question, so be prepared for this loaded question. So, yeah. So.
Yep.
You constantly hear from the left and all the woke weirdos that are constantly, I hope Best is not a woke weirdo, but
no, I'm not. I'm pretty anti, but I'm trying to calm myself down.
All right,
try to keep it.
What was that?
I said I'm not. I'm pretty anti woke, but I try to keep myself.
I'm not going crazy
with it.
It's all right. I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to have any hot takes. I'm just saying specifically that. You know, and this is the first time meeting you, so if I just start saying stuff and you're,
Before you get into that, let's throw Odin in. He showed up.
All right, brother. Oh, hey, what's up, brother?
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, we're dragging Odin into this loaded question that you're about to get.
Yeah, I got this loaded question. And you see, my camera and my sound is all fixed today.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yesterday was horrible, and then the first half of that show sounded like I was on tin can. I had nobody told me.
Oh, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, so here's a loaded question, right?
Yeah.
So you have the woke weirdos that are constantly saying you can't draw this, you can't do this, you can't act like this because that's a negative stereotype. And I said, and my attitude all the time is, well, if it's such a negative stereotype, how come I can walk into the Walmart and I can see it? It's not make believe. We're not just making this up, and this is not how this works. But then they're going to draw Miles Morales to be a negative stereotype.
Yeah.
His character, his whole, like he's wearing Jordans, he's got the basketball shorts on, like literally a negative stereotype, and then he's Spider-Man on top of it. But then those same people are constantly saying, you can't act like this, you can't talk like this because it's a negative stereotype, and that's pretty much how things work. You have to look at like when they had all that nonsense about the Simpsons characters that were portrayed by white voice actors, and that's a whole nother situation because they're that's what they do. That's their job is professional pretenders, and they have voice acting. So it doesn't matter what they actually look like. Their whole job is voice. But then the Cletus character can stick around and nobody cares.
Yeah.
The negative stereotype is allowed in one fashion, but on the other fashions, it wasn't. And that's just my only thing. So I think the movie was okay. I think they did a lot of those characters correctly, even though I don't like the tokenization on all of those levels. And I think most of those characters were really, really cool. I just wish they had different powers, especially Gwen Stacy. I like her spider character, and I think it's the damn ballet slippers.
Yeah.
Like the little blue ballet slippers. I think that ties in the whole costume, and I think it's freaking great. So then why she doesn't do ballet? I mean, she not in the like what you see her doing her stuff. So like she could have been such a cooler character if she wasn't a spider character. But so then I go back to that negative stereotype, Miles Morales, Jays, basketball shorts, hoodie. He's a stereotype. And so that's my thing. What is your take on it?
I think the way they present it and the way they did it in the movie was the correct way. Was like he's in New York. It's the culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he could honestly. I mean, people forget that like he's black, but he's also half Puerto Rican.
Right.
Too, you know what I mean, which is pretty common in New York as well, and the culture, that's kind of the New York culture, so I feel like the way they presented stuff is in the movie was correct, and that's why I like it, because I feel like they did it right. It exists, and the way Marvel does, that's over here. Like I'm not reading books.
You're right. I think you're missing what I'm asking. No, you're right. I think you're missing what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, the left is over here screaming negative stereotypes. And then when you use that negative stereotype, Miles Morales gets praise. You know what I mean? So my take is, how do you feel about the woke banter about it? Where it's not cared about because Miles is, and then anybody else is. Like they make a huge deal about these other cartoon characters that just disappear, or they make a huge issue because it's a negative stereotype. But you have Miles, who they love.
I don't know. Maybe because he's cool.
Okay.
Maybe because he's cool. Because we all know, like you're talking about Simpsons. We all seen Apu. We all seen him. We know he's real.
He is real.
We've all been there. We've all seen the guy. We met the guy. We talked to him. We've seen him. So that's where he comes from.
I see him almost every day.
Yeah.
I love him too.
Yes. Yeah. So no, I think he's a cool character. I just find the whole thing silly that they'll scream and cry to the heavens about the negative stereotype, and then when they actually do it, and then he gets a pass.
Well, I think the biggest issue is it comes down to double standards.
It is.
There's a big hypocrisy involved.
Anyway, and double ones are way too much. One standard's more than enough.
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, it made me think of this time. I bought this pair of shoes, and this is back when I was in a band. And they were skater shoes. I didn't really think twice about it. I was just wearing them. And I was talking to some guy, and he's like, "Oh, you skate?" And I'm like, "Nope, I don't." He's like, "Well, you're wearing skater shoes." And I said, "So?" And he started like going on this little diatribe about, if you're not a skater, you shouldn't buy skater shoes. He was kind of doing it a little passive aggressively. And I'm like, dude, I'll buy whatever the hell I want. I'll wear whatever I want.
Yeah.
They're in the store for anyone to buy. I bought them. Like, none of your business. Go stand on your bandstand somewhere else, in your soapbox.
How long ago was this?
This is probably about 5 years ago or so.
Okay.
Wow. But the point remains that, nobody's in charge of what I do if I'm not hurting someone else. And even the stereotypes, they exist. So one of my favorite comedians is Don Rickles. He'll always be one of my favorites. And he had no career outside of making fun of racial stereotypes. But they're funny, and he would sit there and make fun of an Italian dude about Italians right to his face while the Italian guy is busting a gut, laughing, rolling on the floor, because he knows it's true, and he knows there's elements of that, and he's exaggerating them, of course, for comedic value, but that doesn't make it insensitive. It doesn't make it harmful. It was entirely playful and entirely done, in my opinion, in good taste. He was Jewish, and he would make fun of Jewish culture and Jewish stereotypes nonstop, and it was great. It was beautiful.
No, and that's you hit the nail on the head. And so, comedy lifts the veil on all the nonsense, and that's why, like, it's sad that pretty much all the greats are gone. They've all passed away, because if any of those guys were alive today, Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, Don Rickles, any of those dudes, all the nonsense that's going on right now, you would see through it, because they would just make joke after joke, and it would be nonstop. And because that right there, and then so also stereotypes, my whole life have been a thing, and the reason they're there is because the people really dress like that, act like that, talk like that. It's a thing. It didn't come out of thin air. And, and so, like, when you see it, to make fun of yourself and laugh at yourself is I think it's a big part of being part of the culture. Like, look at some of the older movies where there is some racial tension and some friction. It's the jokes. It's even if they're like way off color, that's what ties it all back together and brings everybody together.
People.
And they wouldn't cry about it. They'd give it back.
Never.
That was the idea.
Right.
Like 48 hours. They gave it back.
48 hours?
Yeah, they gave it back to each other. That's what made it so good.
No, and it is. And it was then, and it always has been. But now this new nonsense, and I just find, and you said the double standard. It's horrible, and so I think those are my gripes about the Spider-Man movie. It's the double standard, the tokenization, and the fact that the books are garbage, and the movie's okay. So I'm torn by it, and if I didn't have my kid, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't have watched it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's not just double standards. It's actually a way of control.
Yeah,
and they'll actually grip tighter when they feel the control slipping, because they'll feel that society as a whole is going, yeah, we care about people's heritages and cultures. We do care about that stuff.
Right.
We love, when I was young, it was celebrate diversity, and now it's like, no. That's cultural appropriation if you celebrate diversity.
Yeah, right.
And, so anyway, as these things become like more acceptable in a broader sense, they go, well, now we're losing our kind of grip, so they have to squeeze tighter, and you make the double standard even stronger. But what they're doing is cutting off their own head by that. And you see in the pendulum swing, it's going to happen. I mean, this stuff got so ridiculous that your common person who might have been even pretty liberal leaning or sympathetic, at least, is going, you guys are nuts now. Like you're not it's very true. What I signed up for. So I see the pendulum swinging, but it was all about control. But as they see it slip away, they just get more and more ridiculous.
Oh, it is. It's nuts. It's nuts. So again, and I'm not going to give out too much here because we're live, but I talked to JBot offline, and I'd like to get with you sometime, Odin, and do a private live where we record it, but it's the same thing we're doing now, but it just doesn't go live. And I just want to bounce some of my ideas off from my stories. But I actually have a story where one of the main characters is Filipino. And just because when I was in the Navy and I was on the ship, I had a friend, and she was from the Philippines. Like, she's a Pacific Islander, and she actually gave me permission to use her entire likeness as the character. So I got to be able to do that, and that's cool. And I want to tie in actual Pacific Island mythology and create this whole fantasy story and this whole fantasy world, like the level of a Willow adventure, but set in modern times, but that kind of storytelling with fantasy and magic and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the 3 stories I have, but that just ties in with the, I have no problem, and that's the one thing with that double standard, you're not allowed to write or take care of a character unless they look like you.
That's right. That's totally
just I'm not into any of that.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. So, and in my other one, I do have some stereotypes, and I'm going to put them in there, and I'm going to make my book.
You should.
Yeah. I mean, as an independent artist, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
That's right.
What were you saying, Odin?
I was going to say, before I walked into the loaded question, I just wanted to say, hello, JBot. Hello, Best Entertainment. I never met you before. 80s made. Nice to see you. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get greetings out of the way.
Oh, and I didn't say last night, but your stream is looking good. Whatever you did with your lighting, man, it's really looking good now. And you sound good today.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have right above my head is a fluorescent in my office area. And it drives me nuts. And so then I just put a lamp up and then turn the fluorescent off.
It looks a lot better. And then how you have the reflection of your TV monitor in the background
on the map.
It actually works because they tell you to put a light behind you to make it draw that attention.
Oh yeah,
it actually works.
Yeah, backlit. I like it.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks real good.
Thank you, man.
It does.
So it looks like Greg Feisty finally saw some Goonies.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I recommended that last night. How'd that work out for you, brother?
Nice. And then he also might get a job. So
awesome. Good. Congratulations,
Draggy. That's it, Draggy. We're calling you Draggy.
Dragon.
Congratulations, Dragon.
Awesome.
Yeah, hope it all works out, brother.
Yeah,
how'd you had to watch Goonies to get a job?
Yeah, I said last night on the stream, I said, Goonies will change your life.
You're a man now. You will get a job.
Pretty much.
Now you can get a job.
Now you can get a job.
Yes,
put that on your EV.
It's the adventure.
Your resume.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I gotta pop off, but thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for letting us check out your book, man.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
No problem.
And maybe we'll get together again sometime and we'll work on some stuff together and get your stuff out there, dude.
Yep. See you around.
Great, nice meeting you guys. See you later.
Yep.
Oh, definitely,
later, brother.
Good night.
So, how was your night, Odin? Did you what'd you go see? You said Watchmen?
Yeah, I saw the Watchmen at the $2.50 night at the movie theater where they show older movies.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, and I've seen Watchmen so many times, but I think it was one of the last great comic book movies. So,
did you read the Watchmen growing up, or
I didn't. And I love Alan Moore, like everything I've read from him. Mm-hmm. But I saw the movie, and I went, and everything I heard was that it was pretty close. So, and I don't doubt that because Alan Moore is a great writer. I think his comic book adaptations always transfer pretty well to the big screen because he did V for Vendetta.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think there was a couple others that became movies that he wrote, but I just finished up reading his run on Swamp Thing, which
I just picked that up. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, the Alan Moore, when Alan Moore wrote it. Yeah,
I picked up the Absolute editions because I don't know if you ever watch Gem Mint Collectibles.
Mm-mm.
He's a dude that's he gets these like crazy big statues, like we're talking crazy expensive big statues. He's that kind of collector, and then he collects just omnibuses. And so I was just watching his thing because I'm a statue guy, and he was just showing it one day. He said he's like, check out this Absolute edition, and it was Swamp Thing. And I said, that's cool as hell. So I just had to buy it. I had to get it, and so I got the 3 volumes, and they're cool as hell because they're the cover is like moss. It feels fuzzy like Swamp Thing. It's just cool as hell. So I bought those, but then they were so freaking nice that and I can't sit down and read that with my kid because she's always like, oh, comics, and she's like flips through the pages, and I'm just like, nah. So I ended up tracking down the trade paperbacks, and I just got all 6. So I'm gonna start reading that. But was it worth it?
Yeah, Swamp Thing is Alan Moore's run on that was poetry, man. I mean, it's amazing. He took kind of a fizzling character. I mean, the character is niche to say the least, but he made it accessible to just about any reader with his writing style. So, and the artwork was great. I think it was Steve Bissett, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to look, but yeah, just a wonderful read. It was kind of some of Alan Moore's early work, and definitely worth it. So I just finished that up. But
I'm excited about it. So I picked up this right here.
What are you working on there, JBot? I like that picture a lot.
Picture of the Robo girl.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Working on. So her character she was born with her dad's an engineer, her mother's a marine biologist, and she's the one that I usually draw with the big robot. This is the story that I'm working on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
but I was changing her design to where she's gonna be born without an arm, so she's gonna have a robot arm.
Yeah,
that's really cool, man.
I think that character's awesome. And then I sent you the link, Jay. But did you hear all the nice things that Odin said about your art?
I did.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited. Like,
look at me, I'm building the romance here,
as we should.
Yeah,
I think this is a cool concept. Good, man. And there was a book. It was a crowdfunded book a while back, and I meant to back it, but it was a long time ago. It was called Stump, and it had this kind of Iron Giant feel.
Yeah.
Then it was actually.
I've never liked that movie.
A UFC character. You never liked it?
I've never liked the Iron Giant.
Oh man,
he turns into a gun. The whole thing's an anti-gun, anti-weapon programming. I never liked it. The gun is bad. No, that's not for me. Have you ever seen Zardoz?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gun is good.
Yeah, the outfits were not, but
with Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery's outfit was a little much.
It was crazy. You ever seen that?
Not enough, actually.
I didn't, but I seen the pictures. That's the one when Sean Connery's wearing that weird orange,
that weird like red orange like suspenders.
Yeah.
So in it, there's this like floating head, and it comes in. And it's like the gun is good, and then it like it shoots guns out of its mouth, and then all the people grab the guns and they start killing people, and then he's like, the gun is good. So yeah, no. The Iron Giant's message was the gun is bad, and I'm a Zardoz fan. Just saying.
Okay, gotcha.
But that movie's weird as hell, though. So, no, that's really cool. I like it. And yeah, you're right. It does have that Iron Giant feel. But I like this. I think these characters are cool.
No, this is amazing. It's really a great concept. And yeah, you got good stuff going on here, man. Like I said in my comment, I was like, our art styles are like night and day different. But I recognize talent when I see it.
Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I picked up this reader copy. I finally got all 6, and I got 5 of my 6 Punisher War Journal. So I'm excited about reading that one.
Oh yeah, great art in there too. But
real good art. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get all 6, but I got number 1 today. So now I have 1 through 5. Nice. But this art was great. That older art style that's just like really great.
That guy's brushwork is really good.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Like you can tell, you're looking at it and you're like, this is some old artwork, but it's incredible.
And also the creative panel work.
Oh,
right there. Like they're really good with that.
Yeah. So I haven't got into this. But I'm looking forward to it. Now wait till you see the Absolute Edition. So each book is $100. And I'll tell you that because my wife's not going to watch this stream. So there's 3 books. So it's $300.
Trust me.
Yeah. So then this is fuzzy like moss.
Oh man, nice.
And so totally you hear that? Beautiful. And then just the artwork. Look at that.
Oh my God.
Like, and then just the Absolute Edition is amazing to have. And I would love to sit there and actually read this, but I'm so afraid because, like, if I ever pick up one of my bigger omnibuses and I have to do something, she purposely will distract me, and then I turn around and she's thumbing through the book. These are just, I don't want her to touch them at all, but like,
that's gorgeous.
Yeah. So
the
creator was
the Swamp Thing book I need. That's the only one that I need. It looks like I'll buy that one.
I'll be good with that one.
Yeah. This is volume 3. Yep.
So I think
and then the colors in this are better. Like
that's right.
They must have recolored it.
So he was partially created. It was Len Wright and Bernie Wrightson, and Bernie Wrightson is like one of the best comic book artists ever. Just one of the best artists ever. Yeah. But he helped create Swamp Thing, and I was right. Steve Bissette did the Alan Moore run, and did him pretty good justice. But yeah, Bernie Wrightson, some of his older Swamp Thing pages are, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, such a great renderer too. Like it just was amazing. Like just looking at this stuff and all the detail. I know Aaron Lopresti always talks about him and will show stuff on his stream or the like images and books, and you're just like, wow, that's amazing.
And you could tell that Lopresti was influenced, like in his style, by Bernie Wrightson.
Yeah,
I think he did one of the there was a Wrightson kind of a tribute book where people drew a lot of images that were Wrightson based. I know Lopresti had one of those, but yeah, his stuff. It's one of those that either makes me want to quit because I'll never be that good, or makes me want to just get better. And I'm like somewhere in between. But like one of my biggest influences by far, and I say influences kind of, how about more like an inspiration, because I don't want to say influence, and people are like, you don't look like him, and I'm like, well, no, who does? You know.
Well, the thing is, I don't draw, but see, here's the thing. I think, and I've said it before. It's not the first time I've said it. I think that I have like an artist's brain. I just don't draw. I've never taken the time to do it, because when I'm thinking about my book and my story, I don't think of it like writers do. I actually think of I see the panel in my head. I see the image that I want on the paper. And so that's also the one thing that I have to struggle with, because it's in my brain, but I'm going to pay somebody else to do it. So I don't know if other people do this when they're coming up with their stories and their their books when they're writing, but I'm going to set it up as if I was the artist, and I'm going to just lay out a storyboard. And
storyboards.
Scribble in my chicken scratch as best as I can and go, here you go, artist, this is what I want. And obviously I would take like constructive criticism, and they're like, well, this doesn't work, or let's tweak this a little bit. I'm all for that, but that's how I'm going to do it. And then after I do my storyboard, that's where I'm going to fill in my words, my story.
And you're probably making it a little bit easier for the artist too, because then they're like, oh, okay, cool, like this makes sense. What if we tweak this and do that?
Yeah, and I would totally
came out better.
That, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, you're doing. But
I don't know if other writers or other people do it that way. But because I said, when these ideas are popping into my head, I'm seeing an entire page, and I'm seeing like characters. That's why I said I already know what my guy want to look like.
No, it's not. I think Mike Barron does it. That's what Mike Barron does.
Yeah.
So
or he did.
Two school of thought, because there's also the Marvel method. But there's the other, what you're talking about, which is basically like you have the concept in your head and you know how you want it laid out. And you basically tell the artist, here's the panel sequence I want. Here's what I want it to look like. Here's the, camera view, basically. The Marvel method was, here's the story and you're an artist. You make it look good,
Yeah.
And I thought that's how that was going to work. I really did. I really thought that was going to work.
Spectrum,
Yep. For my, because when I first said I have this like crazy big idea, and then JBot and I talked, and I think the best idea is to make that into a pulp, like an actual novel.
Yeah.
But when I had that first idea, I hadn't really laid things out. I had a little bit of the story arc. I had a lot of the like backstory ideas and how I was going to put it together. And then as I was thinking about doing this, I really thought I was just going to write it out on paper and go, here you go, artist. Here's, figure it out. And because I've always appreciated that with the movie posters, how, you can take 5 different people from different countries with the exact same, told to make the same movie poster. And they're so amazingly different because they just took the idea from the movie and whatever was their heart and their mind and put it on the paper and
ran with it.
And that's what I thought would happen with my book. But then as I started like really getting into it and thinking like trying to think of how I wanted the story to go, I wasn't thinking of the words at first. I was literally just images were popping into my head and like almost like a movie would play out. And then I was like, oh, and in this scene, he's going to say this. And in this scene, they're going to do this. And they have this conversation. So I saw the scene first and then the words came. And I don't know if other people's brains work that way. Other than, ones that are artists.
A good comic book writer would think of things that way because they know they're making it for that medium. And I think a movie director, similar thing.
Yeah.
Even though they're getting a screenplay, they're making it the vision that they think it's going to work best with. But I think the Marvel method, I think that only came about out of convenience because there was really like Stan Lee and Roy Thomas, and they're like writing every single Marvel title almost at the time. So they're like, we don't have time to write this out and like set it up for you. And they trusted their artists, and they're like, we'll just, from what I hear, I wasn't there, but they said they would just like make a phone call, Stan Lee would call John Buscema and be like, all right, for the next Conan, I want you to do, and then he'd be like, oh yes, Stan, and just take it and run with it. And then he'd get all the credit, even though the artist is doing so much.
I
think that's why now Steve Ditko gets so much credit for Spider-Man now.
As he should.
Yeah, as he should.
Because that's a new thing too. That's very new.
But you're talking about the outfit, the web shooters,
so much of it. Yeah,
Peter Parker, a lot of the stuff.
The original story, the way I heard,
they're like, this is the story, and he's like, okay, and then he draws just like Jack Kirby created Silver Surfer. He's
that's the way I heard it too. I heard it was
Surfman in there.
I heard it was Stan Lee was like, here's the idea, Spider-Man. And then Steve Ditko had to just figure it out from there. Like, that's how I heard it went down.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of those Marvel creations went.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee, no discredit to him because, he was coming up with all these concepts and doing a lot.
Right.
But, he hogs so much of the attention for creating these characters when the artist did tons of legwork. Now, I know John Buscema was always such a company man that he kind of like spurned the praise for that, but he was also, when you asked him if he was a comic book artist, he would say, I'm a cartoonist. Like he downplayed everything he did, and he was so amazing. And it's like, well,
and you look back at those. What was that?
I said that's just who he was. But
and you're right. And you said the way you said it, the way he called himself a cartoonist and stuff. You look back at a lot of those older guys, and it was almost like today, you're like, oh, I'm a comic book artist. This is what I'm doing. Like, you understand that it's a medium that people love, and it's a respectable thing because it's art. But you look at those older guys, it wasn't a respectable thing. And then you also have that idea that there was a couple times where nobody knew it was going to last. Like they thought that everything was just going to fall, and it was just like at one point the video game thing fell out too, and everybody thought that was going to crash and nobody's going to play video games anymore. So you had a lot of these guys would have double jobs where they would maintain their day job, and they were doing the comic book stuff technically on the side, but that's what they're really known for.
Yeah. And just a job, almost like somebody working in Hollywood as a storyboard artist or a concept artist. Like, this is how I pay my bills. I'm not an artist.
And then,
they give you live.
And they have that title of cartoonist as opposed to, hey, I draw Spider-Man or I draw Batman. Like, because I know if it was a today time, that's how people would say it.
Well, and they didn't realize that something like drawing Spider-Man or drawing Batman, like a really cartoonish, just fun character, they're just doing their job and they're having fun with it. They didn't know that years down the road, they'd be billion-dollar intellectual properties, They were just making the comic books in the moment. So naturally they look at it like, I'm just a cartoonist. They didn't see what we see, which is basically that a comic book character done right and, seen in the public eye and with enough branding, and next thing you know, it's worth billions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Yeah, no, I see it. Yeah, a lot of them didn't have any clue that it was going to go further than the kids' hands.
All right.
Yep.
Which makes it all the more special that they made such cool characters,
Oh yeah. No, definitely. And just like the great artists have been around for a long time, but they those great artists have always inspired the next generation. You have to think of who Todd McFarlane was inspired by. You know what I mean? We got Todd McFarlane because of those guys making books. Like that's the way I always look at it.
Absolutely.
And where did you get your start, Odin? I know we've talked about this before, but
inspiration wise. Well, I would say it really was pre-Image, right before all the Marvel artists, the big superstar artists left for Image, was my heyday for comics. So it was Todd McFarlane was on Spider-Man, Jim Lee was on X-Men, Rob Liefeld was on X-Force.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan. I was a total fan. I was buying all those books. They were the big hitters. They were the big superstars. And their art was, revitalizing the industry. And then they pulled the thing where they started Image. Oh, and Mark Silvestri was on Wolverine, and that was a really
Oh yeah.
That's my Wolverine.
Yeah. Silvestri's Wolverine run was the best.
And around that time you had Barry Windsor Smith doing the Weapon X.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I got on himself.
Right there, dude.
Yeah, the Weapon X
Smith
run.
Was legit.
That stuff blew my mind as a kid. And so I came into comics around that time, and then Image happened. Yeah. And then I was, 100% Image fanboy because I was mostly about the art. I like a good story, but I was really buying things for the art. And Weapon X had a cool story, but I looked at Barry Windsor Smith's art, and I went, I'm buying this,
Yeah.
So when all the best artists left to start Image, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna transfer over there. There was some good artists in Marvel bullpen at the time, the Kubert brothers were really good, but some of the people that got to take over Spider-Man, it was such a letdown going from McFarlane to those guys.
I do like
that was
Mark
all my
Bagley
favorites
as a Spider-Man artist. I do. To me, he's my Spider-Man guy. Is Mark Bagley. Anytime you need I think Spider-Man, in the comics, because I kind of came in at the tail end of McFarlane, you know,
right.
but Amazing Spider-Man with Mark Bagley and Carnage, and not before it got like stupid, but like when they had some real nice stories. Mark Bagley was who I think about,
like the Carnage story, yeah.
You know, with Spider-Man, they had a real neat one that was the round robin or something, and they had the big culmination of like the story arc. I think it was like maybe like 5 issues. The last issue was a big fold out poster, was the cover, and it had like, I'm trying to think who it had in there, but man, I know the heroes were Moon Knight, Night Thrasher, Spider-Man, and somebody else. And it was like the main villain was like, I think it was Night Thrasher or Moon Knight's old like sidekick, but he became like an evil cyborg, and it was cool. Like it was
sounds cool.
Everybody talking about these black superheroes, man. Nobody's talking about Night Thrasher, dude.
Yeah, like, Night Thrasher.
I never heard of him. No. Because I remember
he was really Warriors, one of the coolest freaking. I'm gonna find Night Thrasher.
I've never seen Night Thrasher. So I got out of comics altogether pretty much around the time of Todd McFarlane like leaving, like because I had a couple Todd McFarlane books, and then there was a whole switch, and then I got out of comics, and then Image showed up, and the cool thing about all those guys, they were all household names at the time to people that did not know about comics. Yeah. Like that was in the news. That was such a big deal. So those guys were legends. They were badass. And, I get it. But so you were reading the books, but you said you were always drawing?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, so the time period put me about 12, 13-ish when the Image thing happened. But I was always kind of that kid in class that everybody's like, he's the good artist, you know? Mm-hmm. And then once I discovered comic books and got into those, you know, I didn't make any other kind of art after that. It was like comic book art or bust. And so then when I got to high school, I never took art classes. I never did any of that. I took technical drawing and architectural drawing and mechanical drawing, you know, more of the draftsman type stuff.
Yeah.
And because the art classes were electives and they would fill up so fast. And I remember somebody said, hey, just go talk to the art teacher. They'll let you in because you're a good artist. I went to the art teacher. I showed her all my stuff. And she goes, we'll ruin you. Just just keep doing what you're doing. And,
that's good. At least she was honest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That was definitely flattering too. But I was like, I'd rather do art classes though. I don't want to do other classes. But she's like, no, you're doing fine on your own. If I teach you this stuff, it's gonna mess you up and you're gonna lose traction on what you're doing. So it was really powerful in that moment. But yeah. And there's Night Thrasher. And I had that card set too. That was
me too.
That's cool.
I like the one before it, the card set before it the best, but this one was fun too.
Yeah, I think this was series 2, I think.
Yeah, it was series 2. The first series was actually really one of the catalysts because I was like a big sports card kid. Mm-hmm. And then my buddy said, hey, there's Marvel cards and the artwork on that stuff. And it just sold me. And they'd have like famous battles. It'd be like Daredevil versus Bullseye, and it would tell which issues and all this stuff. So that just like started the snowball of me like loving comics was the card set. That first,
and then we start comparing, you know, oh man, so and so stronger than so and so. Oh, they're gonna win. They fought. Like that was the fun part.
Well, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool though. You seem to have a different backstory than most guys that are getting into making comics, because like most everybody's story is, I read this book and I loved the cover, so I traced it and I learned how to draw that cover over and over again, and that's what got me into comics. And then you were already an artist before, and the comics just appealed to you that much more. So I think that's just a cool story. I think it's different. It's a little different than most people's journey.
Yeah, I still did the tracing and all that stuff too, though.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Mm-hmm. I remember the first comic I remember. First comic I remember really holding, or like thinking it was cool art. It was like they used to have X-Men Classic, and X-Men Classic was they were reprinting the older X-Men issues, and they were doing the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah,
and so it was the cover of John Byrne, Wolverine, where he got separated from the X-Men and the Hellfire Club, and he's like, he has his claws inside the guy, and he's like lifting him up.
Yeah,
like Wolverine murk dudes, like he killed people.
Yes.
There's so many cool covers.
John
like that.
Byrne was one of the best for sure. So he's kind of that pre-Image kind of like Godfather sort of. So there's the old guys, Jack Kirby and stuff, but John Byrne really carried that torch, man. He was amazing.
Yeah, and I never really got into his stuff too much, so now I'm keeping an eye out. I'm going back and like trying to get the omnibuses of that stuff that I remember. Like, oh, I didn't know he did She-Hulk. That art looks great.
Yep.
I look at comics. I don't read them, to be honest. I'm like, oh, cool. Look at the picture. It's great. Put it on the shelf.
So,
you know,
I mean, I got 3 volumes of Ghost in the Shell. What's it about? Shit, I don't know. The art's great. He draws cool chicks. Awesome. Like, here we
go. So, Shanth had Eric Weathers on his show.
Yeah.
Interviewing him. And Eric he's such an interesting personality, but he's like, yeah, I don't really like comics that much. Oh, he wasn't saying that so much, but he was just like, he's like, I bought Wizard back in the day, which I did too, for the same reason. And it was so like refreshing to hear someone else say it. He's like, I didn't care about the stories. I just wanted to see art. And so I'd buy Wizard because it was all the glory shots. You know, yeah. I was like, damn, I did the same thing. And it was just refreshing to hear somebody working in the field saying that, because I'm like, I like the stories, but it's not even close to what gets me into comics. It's always the art.
No. And coming at it from a different angle of just really appreciating the art, but never really doodling all that much. Because like, you know, I dabbled a little bit, and then I was discouraged when I was a kid, so I didn't really get far into it. But I joked about it all the time that the word balloons get in the way. You know, we buy comics because it's art, and that's why I love Berserker so much. That Keanu Reeves story, because there's not a ton of word bubbles. They're there when they need to be to move the story along, but from page to page, the art moves the story along. And I've always been in that camp of, don't tell me, show me. You're buying an art book. You're buying a comic book. Show me. You know, don't tell me in 500 word balloons that are mucking up the page what's going on. You're drawing a picture. Because what was it? One of the newer Venom books, somebody popped up a page from it. It's an entire white page. Venom's on it on the very bottom, and some broad is lecturing him, and he's just, you know, crying about the feelings. And the entire page is word balloons, like a giant word balloon, like rainbow, like connected, arch over the entire page. It's just, I mean, 1, it's a chore to get through. 2, that's not Venom. 3, it's an art book, and the entire page is white except for Venom and this broad that's yelling at him.
Oh God. Yeah.
And then it's a dumb lecture, and it's just the people that are involved now. It's the same thing, but it's horrible now. But even then, like, you know, there's some of the older books, you can find some really good books. I know some of the Alan Moore stuff, there's a lot of word balloons, but his writing is great.
And also the artwork, those panels, like I was saying on that Swamp Thing, the panels were super creative.
Yeah.
Right.
So even though there's a lot of dialogue and a lot of text, it's done in a aesthetically pleasing way with some great artwork behind it, obviously. But like, you know, there's a way to accomplish that. I'm also in the same boat. Like, this book's not going to have tons of, it's not going to have much at all. But yeah, it's a complementary thing. And when you destroy the one, and that's just modern comics right now, the artwork is boring. There's not like a real sense of we're here to entertain with the artwork. It's way too story centric, and then the stories suck, so that doesn't help.
Yeah. You know what's gonna be weird? Getting Sean's book and seeing words on it.
That's
just watching him work on Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And we're just like, when words are going to be on it, I think it's just going to be like, what are these?
Going to be a downer.
I tried throwing the idea out there, and I don't know if he caught it or whatever. I said it a couple times in the chat of just printing 2 books, one with balloons and one with no words whatsoever, but it's the same damn book. Like, call it something, Nosferatu Naked or something.
Yeah,
and so you have the entire book without any words, because then, you know, just think of it like a silent film. Like, that's already the aesthetic he's going for, of that older style, the painting, he talks about Nosferatu gave him the influence, like, to have that book and be able to have it without words, and just to have that, silent film feel. I'm in.
That's what I want.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we should just all start hitting up his chat.
Yeah, we need to campaign Sean's channel and just be like,
we'll call it
no words.
We don't want words in your book.
Edition.
So I was telling you the other night, 80s, that there was a Conan book like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was he did a lot of the Conan cover art recently for Marvel. Gosh, why am I blanking on his name again? He's a phenomenal. It's all kind of like watercolor, similar to Shanth. You know, he's doing watercolor paint, but they did a whole book without any dialogue, any word balloons, any text, and it just follows Conan. I think it's young Conan. He's like a teenager, and he's like fighting wolves and doing all this stuff. But it's just panel by panel, no text, just the artwork carries you along, and it does just fine. You know exactly what's going on because he's a good artist. You know,
right?
And I enjoyed it. And I would sit there, probably take just as long just studying the artwork and enjoying it as I would have if I was reading shit, you know, so it can be done.
Some of those books are beautiful. Although I was looking at but they're expensive. The artist editions.
Oh yeah.
I saw the one for the Max, like Mark Texeira's the Max. Yeah. I don't think they have word balloons in that. It's just a black and white.
Yeah, when they do the artist editions, all the text is gone. Yeah, it's just the art.
Get that text out of there.
Yeah.
Words are for nerds.
That's right. I don't need your words.
Nerd. You stupid nerds. Why do you need words? Yeah. I need to make a shirt that says that. Silly nerd. Why do you need words or something?
Yep. No, I agree. And it's the thing is like, so not that I was afraid, but I never thought that I was going to be sitting here going, I'm going to make a comic book too, you know, and you see a lot of people doing that. And it just, I had no aspiration. Like, obviously when I was a kid and I was reading books, like I had that and I really wanted to, but then I never finished it. I never followed through, and it never bothered me. Like, I just kind of grew out of it, and then just getting back into it. And it was just really like last year getting, you know, because as soon as I backed Wreck Planet, because I obviously had Blood Honey. As soon as I backed Wreck Planet, and then waiting for that, and then I found, you know, the Billy Tucci stuff, and I got a couple others, and then waiting for campaigns, I just went on this bug and just started getting books, and, you know, all the stuff that I missed out on as a kid, and trying to catch up and reading, and just reading those, you know, it would inspire me for these stories that were just popping up into my head, and I never expected it to. But I honestly, I was in the idea of maybe selling my ideas to somebody, or saying, hey, you're making a book, here's some really cool ideas, you know, just giving them to them and giving them away. And, you know, especially like a really good artist being like, hey, you're a really good artist, here's some cool ideas. And, you know, the more we talked and we've done this, and then just after bouncing the ideas off of JBot, he said they were pretty good. So, you know, it's a lot different than my wife saying they're pretty good.
Well, that's true.
She didn't care.
Yeah, it's always different.
Yeah,
I did give my wife static. I was like, hey, you know, I was telling you this thing, and you were kind of like, yeah, kind of whatever, you know. It's like, well, when you asked me, I couldn't pay attention because I was busy. So now she's like, let me hear your premise now. And I was like, okay, where's the idea I had? She's like, that's great. She's like, now it makes sense when you ask me. You asked me at horrible times.
That's funny.
My
like, I was half asleep when you told me. I was like, babe, I got this idea. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever, weirdo. Like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Nerd.
So she's like, so now you have to tell your buddies that I do listen to you.
Yeah,
You have to clear my name. It's okay, babe, I will.
My ex would purposely tell me my stuff was shite just because she knew I got tired of hearing people who didn't know what they were talking about. And she'd go, well, I don't know either, but I'm telling you, it's shite. You need to do better.
That's funny.
And I'd be like, thank you. That's what I need to hear right now.
Yeah. No, I'll be honest with you. You know, I like what I see. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, like, I was not worried, but I was in the idea that that splash page was so cool that the next page wasn't going to be. And the fact that it was, I was impressed. Like, you know, your art is consistent, and I like that. Because even some of the better guys that not all the main guys in CG, but like you can see some comic book professionals where, you know, a splash page will be awesome and then the next page sucks. You know, there's no consistency.
They had one thing that I don't, which is timelines and deadlines, you know?
Yes.
And I think
that's true.
That's one thing you'll see is like, you can see where they were like under the gun and where they were having fun and doing their thing. So you'll see this great imagery, and then you're like, whoa, they really mailed this page in. You know, it's not that good. And it'd be a great artist that could do that. They probably took 3 hours to draw a whole page because they had to. They're like, shit, go
fun stuff too.
Like, no, I can definitely appreciate that, but there's been some in the independent campaign that have done similar.
Yeah.
Where they're like, and we're not even just talking about a splash page to a smaller page. We're talking one page with one panel doesn't match the next panel, and like how the person's face is shaped, like kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I tried my best, but I've also rushed through some things. And I've redrawn 3 pages where I got the full page done, and I went, that's not good enough, and tossed it. And that's a lot of time, but. There's a few others that I went, I'm not going to toss it, even though I know I could do better. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely do better, but
well, I wouldn't even toss it because like if you get bigger, you see some of those guys, they sell their original art for a lot of money.
Just saying, like, this page never made it because it sucked, and everybody then they're like, well, that's the one we want to buy.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. So don't toss it. People pay some money for that stuff.
Yeah, original art
material on the DVD.
Yeah. So, and then Jay, when are you going to pull the trigger on your stuff? You keep saying you're toying with it. Odin said jump in.
Yeah. I'm still writing down the story. I think what we talked about, the first thing that I was talking about doing when me and you spoke. Well, fuck it. I'll just talk about it anyway. I want to do a
this is in details.
Yeah. I want to do a kid's book.
Yeah.
And I think
it's
that's
needed.
That's the first thing I'm gonna do with the giant robot and the girl. I'm gonna do a kid's book. That's the plan for this.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
And it works. Like I have 3 daughters and they're all a bit older now, but like there was a gap between of cool stories probably for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade era.
Yeah, so I bought this one, so I'm gonna do something simple. Simple like this.
Yeah, and that's the gap, but like making it cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So that looks pretty cool. But
it's not complicated. It's fun art, quick sentences.
Dude, you got it. Like that would be published. Like if you made a story about this little girl and this robot character, and the story for kids' stories, they just have to be what's like a good moral and likable characters. I mean, that's almost all it takes. Like adults, we get like all nuanced and we want all this.
And you're missing that in today's stuff too. Even the kids stuff today, the modern stuff is not there. And I've been thinking about this lately because I actually have a video planned this week because watching Never Ending Story again. Because we talked about that in the stream. Jay and I were talking that Never Ending Story has this like crazy message. If you watch it as an adult, like when you're a kid, it's just fun. It's a good story. It's great, fancy. Right. When you watch it as an adult, you see the actual message in there, and it's just so freaking cool. And then like just think of like He-Man stories when we were kids. Like at the end of every episode, they're like, "Hey, boys and girls, don't do this," and like and it tells you it's this moral compass, and that's what's missing in a lot of stuff today. So just to have that book with a for kids, geared towards kids, and have that positive message, but then like the whole thing, like you said, like it's about morals. It's about just like a positive message. We don't have that today in so many things, and we're missing it. I think your book would do really good, man.
Yeah, I think the first one I'm going to do, it's going to be a simple bedtime story.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's going to talk about the characters. My friend's a giant robot. I'm big. He's small. We're different, but we're still friends. That's going to be the premise of the book. It's going to be a simple bedtime story. And then I'll do, then from there, I'm going to do like a poster, and maybe like some stickers or a poster and something else. So it's going to be the book, the poster, and something else with it, like
that. Cool. I think the poster is so cool because, how I am with merchandise, like I know my kid is. And so I'm assuming other kids are too. So if you can go, here's your book and the poster's on the wall, that's the book they want. Mm-hmm. They see it all day long. They want that book. They want that book over and over again. I think that's a really cool idea.
So, but it's going to be like, and pretty much the idea is first kids book of CG is the plan. So if anybody steals it, you fuckers, timestamp this shit.
Yeah, we all know what time. Yeah.
Well, and then jump in, man. Like Odin said, your art's good, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm already that's what I'm writing. I'm writing the kids book.
Yeah,
the story, the bedtime story is what I'm writing right now.
If the imagery is like this, a nice kids premise story, it'll sell itself, man. And like you said, posters, like my daughters when they were young would have this on their wall. That poster, that image right there. And Dragon Pisces and Earth Best, I think they all agree.
Pull up some of them chats.
Cool. There we go. See?
Yeah.
My idea. I'm watching
it. No, it's good. It's a good idea, man. That's what I was saying. And so
something simple. I don't know if I have the patience to draw a comic like. You know what I mean? That's kind of like I don't know if I have the patience to like draw unless I'm gonna do like fat big panels and be like, listen, baby, there's 3 panels a page. That's it. And splash pages.
That's all you get. Everyone's getting a splash page.
We're doing 2-page spreads in this bedtime story. Is what's gonna happen. Like
you get a splash page and you get a splash page. Everyone gets a splash page.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Like I have some 9-panel pages, but like they're pretty few and far between. I'm like, I just want the art to carry it,
and that's why I really like that, because it reminds me of and a little bit of you got that Zelda vibe for me, like that older like Zelda vibe, but not cartoony at all. But then it goes into what I imagine of like the Dungeons and Dragons like realm would be like. So I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Jay, and for you, like think about it. Like how many pages is a kid's book? Not that many pages.
Yeah, this one's
so you could probably,
put numbers on
just writing your story, huh?
I don't even put
32 pages.
Yeah, that's one. I mean, but there's even shorter ones. Like,
too,
it's thin. It's shorter. So I mean, that's not going to take as much as these comic book things. So I'm just saying, like you could
spans,
bang out your story. Start writing some art and then pop up Indiegogo and get that thing going.
This is a neat little. I like the size of this. You could throw it in your backpack, take it with you.
And then I asked Chris Fisk what again, because I don't remember. Or you can watch that thing because we talked about. I asked him how much it costs to print on that stream. I don't know if you were still there then.
He said about $3,000 for whatever run he was talking about.
Yeah, and he did a bunch of books and he did variants. Right. So you're just doing a simple kids book that's not complicated, and you're probably not going to do a big thing. So even if you like popped up and did the you figure, let's just say you figured it was going to cost you $1,000 to print out your books. And you said you would do an Indiegogo for the 500. So you're going to hit that 500 goal and just let it sit in demand for a little while, and it's going to cost you about $1,000 to print it. I think that would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do your own thing. I mean, I don't know what's fine for you. I'm just saying. I think for the backers, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm debating too. Like I'm wondering if it's easier. I got a kid's book. It's 30 pages. Is it easier for just me like throw it on Amazon, or should I Indiegogo? Like I haven't done any research like that at all either. But I think doing a campaign will be fun. I think that's part of the fun part is.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. But see how I feel, and you know how I feel about physical media is I'd rather see your book in Barnes and Nobles than digitally on Amazon. I mean, it's easier to go the Amazon route because you're self-published at that point. You upload your files, but now all your files are digital.
No. Yeah, but
that's also not a guarantee that somebody's going to buy it on Amazon. It's just the easiest route.
Yeah.
Indiegogo, whoever's giving you money for it, they're technically buyers.
Yeah. That's probably I didn't even think about that. But then, because you're catering to that audience that they want the physical book,
right? And then the thing about kids' books, though, is you get an actual physical book and you've already sold it and printed it out. It's that much easier for you to go, hey, store, buy my book. And somebody like Barnes and Noble or another bookseller would be more apt to at like the larger volume. I said there was a guy on the ship that I was on the ship with, and he with somebody else. They did it together. They made a kids book. They're on their third one now, and all they did was they wrote a book. They self-published. They paid all the money. They didn't do anything Indiegogo. I don't know. The one kid wrote it, the other kid drew it, and it's called something The Cutter. It's about a tugboat. I never bothered. It's basically a Thomas the Train ripoff, but it's a tugboat. And they're on their third book now, but then they've gone all over the United States, like to book tours and like all the bookshops and stuff. And it's just this simple kids book, man. And they're doing well with it. And I'm pretty sure the dude got out of the Navy.
Yeah,
like because this is doing well.
Yeah, that would be the biggest thing, is just distribution if you want to do it beyond crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there are distribution places where if you're already publishing it yourself, you just have to get a contract with the distributor, and they'll make sure it's in certain Barnes and Noble or, Scholastic book fairs or whatever,
Yeah.
Because that's another big money one for kids is if you can get in Scholastic or in libraries, public libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. You have a lot of options with kids stuff, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's something it's different, but it's simple. It's something that I feel like I can handle, and
I think
the images for it. But at the same time, too, it's like you got to have something normal to kind of combat this weird stuff that they're this weird agenda. They're trying to push on kids. It's like, dude, let's talk about some giant robots, bro. Like, let's keep this shit fun. Like,
well, and your moral will be more like a common moral, not like some weird agenda moral,
Yeah. It'd be like a monster of the week.
That'll appeal to a broad audience rather than just an isolated audience.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, like a simple, don't steal.
Right, exactly.
It's like the simple stuff that we had when we were kids, like in all those cartoons. It was just they were never
knowing is half the battle.
Yeah,
it's
simple.
Fire, kids. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Just start watching old cartoons and just steal that message. Yeah. And then the first one should be don't steal.
Speaking of right. Speaking of old cartoons, me and my daughter were watching Ninja Turtles last night, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Raphael's so damn funny.
Yeah.
Like he is so it is criminal that they made him dark and brooding. How funny he is in the original show.
He's great.
Oh man,
he's great. Yeah. No, and then some of the later episodes, like some of the voice actors, you could tell that they couldn't get them at that time when they're making it. So like some of the voice actors are off, and there was one where the artist, like they had the artist do somewhere else. I don't remember what it was. But basically, I think Raphael walks in the room, and then all of a sudden it's Donatello.
Oh.
That's happened a couple times. But the show itself was fun. It was fun to revisit. Definitely enjoyable. And a lot of the show is fun. A lot of it's not what we got in the modern stuff.
Mm-mm.
Did you guys ever get the sense that they were really trying to push Michelangelo, like kind of with this like Bart Simpson kind of thing? And everybody I knew liked Raphael more.
Yeah.
They were trying to put Michelangelo as the cool one, and everybody's like, he's not cool. Raphael's cool.
Especially with the movie.
Right.
Well, the movie especially,
in the 90s too, right? So that came out 89. But so in the 90s, you had this whole weird trope. And I think it was part of some kind of agenda that was, that we didn't know about. But you can see it everywhere, that they had these asshole kids with an attitude. They all knew better than the parents. They all knew better than everybody. And they kind of had a bad attitude. And the only reason I know this now is trying to watch some of that stuff with my kid and just seeing the programming work. Literally taking a sweetheart little girl and turning her into a monster within just watching the show. Like to the point where, slamming the door and yelling at me at 5 years old, because I told her to go brush her teeth. And I'm like, oh, interesting. We just watched that yesterday on Full House or something stupid. Right. And it's like, there it is right there. And then you start looking, because the way we binge watch stuff, it's all on DVD. It was pretty much everything. They all the kids had this like 90s attitude. They all yelled at their parents. They all talked crappy to their parents. And it was that whole thing. So couple that with the Michelangelo party dude, and at the core of it, Michelangelo is a stoner. Like I'm not saying like the Shaggy stoner, but like that whole like, hey, what's up, dude? Let's party. Come on, let's get some pizza. Yeah. Like that whole thing. Hungry. That's your stoner character.
Always want pizza.
Yeah, always want pizza. Yeah. So no, I liked Raphael better. I did always in watching the show, I actually was able to relate to all the characters at one time or another. Like never all at once, never the same. Never was like, Leo's my guy and that's it. Like there was just times where I'm just like, one, Leo had swords. But two, he was the leader. He was always like, "Hey, let's go do this," and that's what I did with my friends out in town and stuff. Like I'd go in the backyard and be like, "Hey, let's go do this," and it's kind of the same attitude. But then Raphael was the coolest one, man. And then Michelangelo did know how to have fun. And then I always like to take shit apart. Like I was always taking things apart to see how it worked. So then I associated with Donatello, and I liked them all at some point. So the turtles were my thing, like all of them. But my favorite was Raphael.
My favorite was Splinter.
Really? I never cared for Splinter that much in the cartoon. I liked him in the movie.
The movie was actually really cool. Shredder was cooler in the movie too, and he was cool.
Shredder was awesome in the movie.
Yeah, the foot soldiers were cool too. Like that was the thing. We were talking about like wanting a bad guy to root for. Yeah, you have to make bad guys cool.
Yeah,
you just do,
dude.
Because that's the way the devil works. It looks cool,
I was always buying Cobra over G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Way cooler.
Yeah, I was like, I got my Aggie Viper, got my Techno Viper. You know what I mean? Like I was like, Roadblock. I'm like, this dude looks like a ninja. Like I'm gonna buy the ninja robot dude.
Well, I preferred Storm Shadow over Snake Eyes. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, and the villains, to have cool villains, and today they don't because the heroes suck. And that's the villain and the hero are tied together. They are married. And if they are not, your story is garbage. And so you have a crappy villain because you already had a crappy hero. And when I get any story and whatever you guys are making, I want your villains to be like ruthless. I want them to do like the worst shit ever, because then it makes the whole hero's journey, it makes the whole story that much better. You get invested into it. You feel good when the hero overcomes that stuff. And even sometimes when the bad guy wins and you got to wait till the next story to finish that up, it gives you that, man, I love to hate this guy, like that kind of whole feeling.
So who's your favorite villain of all time?
I really have always loved Tim Curry's Darkness from Legend.
Oh yeah, great
choice.
Like
straight up, and I don't know when the last time you watched that was, but I watch it regularly.
It's been a little while, but I love that movie.
You just the scene where he's like, he tells her, well, one, he kidnaps the broad, right, and he's trying to kill the unicorns and drink their blood and all that stuff. Like he is the devil. He is the epitome of a villain, but then Tim Curry killed it in that scene, man. When I was a kid, the very first time I ever saw Legend, I turned the television on, and it was right there at the scene where Darkness is walking through the mirror, and then you see his horns that first time, and I remember going to school the next day and trying to tell everybody what it was, but I didn't know the name of the movie because it was on cable, and I didn't know, and so I go to school and I'm just telling him, I'm like, and dude, he had these horns that were like this big, and I was just like, it was so cool. And then nobody knew what I was talking about. And it wasn't until a few years later I found out, and I was like, it was my thing. So no, I 100% my all-time absolute favorite villain, and just the dialogue, the way Tim Curry carried it, everything's my favorite. But as far as like cartoon guys go, comic book guys go, I'm going to go with your classics. I'm going to go with Shredder. I'm going to go with Cobra. I'm going to go with, who's that other one? There's one that was really, really good.
Skeletor?
Well, Skeletor. No, Skeletor is fine. Skeletor wasn't my thing because even though I was aware of it, the show was over before I remembered it. And I had some of the toys, and then I was into She-Ra, so it wasn't really that. I would probably pick Mum-Ra before I picked Skeletor.
Yeah. Mum-Ra was actually a better villain.
Huh?
I said Mum-Ra was actually a better villain than Skeletor.
Yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, no, because when you really look at the core of it, and then I start watching these back with my kid, Skeletor was kind of a bitch.
Yeah, he was a same with Cobra Commander.
Well, he was, but I I just liked it because the whole dynamic of, pretty much if you saw them on screen, they were always fighting. There was just always action. It was just never ending. It was the same thing with Transformers, the Autobots and the Decepticons. If the two of them were on the screen at the exact same time, there was some kind of fighting, some kind of action. So that's why I liked those. But I didn't love the Transformers like I liked G.I. Joe.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. I like G.I. Joe better.
I definitely like G.I. Joe better.
What's your villain, JBot?
I just keep thinking of like 90s Magneto when you're talking about like bad guys, like favorite bad guys, like
Jim Lee version,
like from like the cartoon and like the comic of that time. Like Magneto was such a badass, it was just so damn cool. And it was like, he had the force field, and he was like when Magneto showed up, you showed up, you were like, oh, it's about to go down. Like there's no
big time,
oh no, and that's why that's kind of why I like in my villains.
And for me, I agree with you. What I remember the movie when he had grabbed Wolverine and made him stab himself.
Yeah. As
a kid, like watching that cartoon, I always hoped for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a cool villain.
Yeah, Magneto's.
Yeah, what was your other one, J-Bot? I know I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, just mainly Magneto. That's the only thing I could think of is Magneto. I was trying to think of somebody else. Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron.
Yeah, that's fine.
I wasn't the Transformers movie, and he comes back as Galvatron.
Yeah,
like that was.
So, and then with G.I. Joe, for me, it wasn't Cobra. It wasn't Cobra Commander or any of those. It was Baroness.
Was it the voice?
I actually have her hanging on the wall. No, because one, she was manipulative. Two, she was always doing stuff like in the background, and you can't trust a woman. Like there was that whole dynamic. It was built right in there, and I enjoyed it more as opposed to Cobra Commander being a whiny bitch.
Yeah, let's hear a Destro.
I thought Destro.
Destro was cool. Yeah,
or Dr. Mindbender too.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Destro can trust Baroness all day.
Yeah, I think it was Destro and Baroness. Like why they ever listened to Cobra Commander was beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are the team, like you're gonna win.
Yeah.
For me, I think I thought of two that like really hit me, and they were both the same actor, at least voice wise, and it was Thulsa Doom from Conan the Barbarian and Darth Vader.
Oh, Darth Vader's legit.
Yeah, Vader. Yeah, Vader got to be in the Mount Rushmore of villains, I think.
Well,
yeah, but he's kind of a turncoat, so he's a little both.
Well, he has that turncoat, but then I never associated him with lumping him in with all the rest.
Like true villainy, yeah.
True villain. Like I look at him as a separate category, like a separate, because just everything about the character is amazing, menacing, intimidating. Like you first see him on the screen and you're like, oh shit, like
exactly,
we're in for this. Like when he first walks in the first Star Wars movie, and he's just, you're just like, damn. And then he talks.
Nobody could stand up to him. And then James Earl Jones' voice, I think, is really
amazing. It's when you hear him talk, it's done. It's done. So I have like my wife likes Darth Vader. My kid loves Darth Vader. I've got a statue downstairs. But then we had those around the time Force Awakens came out. They had those. They're like this tall. They're action figures, but they're like this tall. Yeah. I got the Stormtrooper and I got Darth Vader, and they're in my hallway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about Darth Vader. But again, like you said, you can't totally lump him in with a true villainy. Because you knew underneath there was Luke's father.
You always have that. And even though he was I think out of all of the villains, he's the coolest character. But he's not pure evil.
No, he wasn't pure evil. And then the only reason I said Thulsa Doom was because it's also James Earl Jones, and because Conan's one of my favorites. But again, it's always the voice, when he's like,
"Oh,
there's power inside of you. Who gave that to you?" And it's like, dude,
no, that voice was awesome, man. And then, when I was a kid, when I first saw Conan, that was the coolest thing. One, it was like the first time I got to see like naked titties. And then, no, it was just the whole movie was just cool as hell. And then in the end, like you had all those snake worshippers, and James Earl Jones is the bad guy, and
when he cuts his head off, though, is one of the coolest.
Oh,
he's given James Earl Jones is powerful voice, and he's given this compelling speech, and you could see Arnold kind of like, Conan. He's just like thinking about her. It looks like it's getting through to him, and then in a split second, he just takes a sword and cuts his head off. He's like, maybe you're right. Maybe what you're saying that I should give into your evil rule. And then he's like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And so I like both those Conan movies. And for when I was a kid, for the longest time, I never understood that Red Sonja was a separate character and everything. So when I watched that as a kid, I just said, those are the 3 Conan movies. Like that's how I associated when I was a kid. And it wasn't until I was an adult where I bought it and I said, this isn't Conan.
Right. There's the 3 Conan movies. There's the one that sucks. Has a lot of this girl in there, but
yeah. And then the one thing about Red Sonja that pissed me off, because I look at the comic character and I look at the statues. She's awesome. Got the red hair. I'm a big fan of red hair.
Fun character, yeah.
And I love the character, like the design, everything. But then what we got in that movie doesn't even come close to what we had in the comic book, or even the statues that we got. But then the one thing that pissed me off when I was a little boy, and it still pisses me off today, but I do have it because I kind of have that nostalgia for watching it. But there's two scenes in the movie where she's fighting Arnold. Yeah. And who's not Conan, but as a kid
he's basically Conan, realized it wasn't
Conan. But she's fighting him and she's holding her own. Okay, when I was in middle school, I was on the track team and I wrestled, so I understand physical exertion and just the amount of like what just a few minutes of like pure like putting your all into something quickly dehydrates you, and just that cotton mouth is how disabling that is, and when you still got to muscle through it. So then to have this woman who's nowhere near the size of Arnold whipping that sword around, which is way bigger than her already, and then being able to hold her own against him, even as a boy I was like, something about that's not right.
Yeah.
And then as an adult I'm like, yeah, this is garbage.
In the comic book stories, she would always she was tough with Conan, but she always knew that Conan was superior. You know what I mean?
Right, and you can see that, but it's just in the movie, it's part of that agenda stuff back in the 80s. It just seemed like they were trying to sprinkle it in there.
Yeah.
Or it's just somebody didn't understand the character and it's like, oh, she's a badass. So, because
they made the movie about her. I mean, it was called Red Sonja, and so they can't make her submissive to another character.
I have to go back and watch because you might have just been fucking with her too.
No, watch it. Well, in the last fight at the end, it's basically because they realize that they're into each other, and so then it's like more playing. But that first fight isn't really playing, and
it's foreplay.
It is, it really was. But what it was I think it could have been done really, really well. And you are right. Like it's a Red Sonja movie, so you can't write her as a little bitch to Conan because then it's not to Arnold Schwarzenegger because it's not an Arnold movie. It's a Red Sonja movie, but. There's a way to write her and choreograph her because she is a woman, as opposed to like rolling out of it, ducking. She's smaller, she's faster. There's other things of her also being strong and powerful and wielding her sword. But like to go head to head with Arnold like that, I mean, I'm a grown man and I know I couldn't with Arnold in his prime.
They should have had an arm wrestling contest and have her win.
There you go.
It's like this. And Bridget Nielsen's a big lady, by the way.
She has to just, she's the hat backwards.
Yeah, like over as long as she puts her hat on backwards, she'll win.
There you go. She'd win every time.
But I am, but I become like a truck. I'm like a truck.
That's a fun movie too. Yeah, but even in that one, the boys shitty to him. Like just think about all those movies. The kids were always crappy to their parents.
Yeah, you don't know nothing, Dad.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, and then by the end of the movie, they settle their differences and he realizes he loves his dad and stuff. And so like, and all those movies had that. So you had this programming of these like crappy kids, crappy to their parents, but then at the end message, it all worked out. It was all better. They were all like that though. Yeah.
Well, it's better when the kid comes around at least and is humbled at some point. The problem is when they're never humbled and they basically like just get away with being shitty and everything works out for them. Like as long as there's like the moral again of like, you're going to act this way, the consequences, and you will be humbled. You'll have a moment where you're knocked down and all your rhetoric and all your shit talking isn't going to help you. You know? So,
and back then you had a lot more of that, but you don't have that today.
Yeah. You don't have that now.
They go along and they're handed everything. There's no consequences. There's no consequences for being a crappy person in any of the modern stories that I've seen. And then the hero is almost always the hero just because they're inherently good. There's never a reluctance. When was it? I don't remember any movie back in the day where the hero literally like woke up and was like, "All right, let's go fight some bad guys. I guess I gotta." Like they didn't want to. It's part of that journey and just their own character arc. And then whatever it is, realizing that they have to step up because nobody else is going to step up, or they're the only ones that can. And then you have this like really awesome bad villain that is just really out there screwing everything up, and they don't care, and nobody's holding them accountable because they can't. So then this one person has to either overcome any obstacles to try to defeat the villain, or overcome themselves because they were holding themselves back. You don't have that today. It literally is just like, these Mary Sue type characters that just wake up and they're like, well, I'm good and you're bad, so I have to kill you now. I have to fight you, and that's what I have to do. And there's no, it's self-serving, I feel.
For sure.
Yeah. They don't want to show any hardships or any struggles, but that's
there's never a hardship.
Yeah.
Do you guys aware of Jordan Peterson? I know a lot of people talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he made a really good point about when people look in the past, they'll always put themselves in the hero position. So when they look back at like Nazi Germany, they go, well, I would have been a conscientious objector, and not realizing that the majority of the population went along with it, and they were all human beings, and you happen to be a human being yourself. So when you think of these hero journeys, the struggle is a realistic struggle. It's like if you were walking by a raging river and you saw someone in there, as much as you need to go help them, you're risking your own life. You're going to have that second of pause of like, this is potentially, I could die helping him and then we're both dead. Those are real struggles. It's not abnormal to think that, but in our mind we go, yeah, I saw somebody almost drowning in a river, I'd go save him, and you probably should, of course, but to automatically think that you're just gonna make that decision. So that's why the hero's journey stories are so good, is because it's a reality that you're not just gonna be a hero. It takes true balls, to like step into that situation and take it on.
Oh, it does. And then you see that because then you have the situation where it's either the obstacle, which, like you said, you made that perfect example of hey, if I jump in this river, I could die too. Like that's the obstacle.
Yeah.
Or it's their own self, everything about it, whatever they feel about themselves, they have to overcome that to then do the right thing. And that's like, I have one of the characters that I have, like, he basically runs away from all the problems, and somewhere along the lines, he has to stop running away and stand up and fix what he caused, his mistake. He has to go back and fix that, and he can't go back because you can't go back in time. So he's got to go forward and fix it. And it's like one of them, like, it's like an earth-shattering, end of the world kind of thing.
Yeah, and
so
that's
so I get it. Yeah,
very human. Those are human things, and I think the programming is, when you think of people that are kind of like weirdos nowadays, they just automatically in their head think that they're fighting a good fight.
They do. But you
automatically right, and they're automatically heroic, and when they might not be at all.
You remember when we were the weirdos?
Yeah, I've always been the weirdo.
I'm just saying. Well, people that like comic books, people that like this stuff. We were always the weirdos. We were always the ones that were, doing things differently, and now we're the cool kids. I just think it's funny.
I gotta step away for a quick sec. Just letting you know.
Oh, no problem. Earth's Best Entertainment says a whole bunch of things. I don't have any control of the chat over here.
Okay, yeah, I was popping them up while you guys were talking.
Oh, I didn't know. It could have just interrupted at some point. But no, he said the one thing. Let's see. I don't know what you popped up, but he said the one thing that the first naked titties he saw were from Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I popped that up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And like Turning Red, she's never humbled. Yeah, that was. I got in this weird Twitter war over the Turning Red thing, and it started with there's this article from this woman who said that the Turning Red was unapologetically horny, and that's how it made her feel. And it comes across just that title, that headline is like, what? This is a kid's movie. What? And it gets all this like hate and this craziness. But if you actually take the time to read the article, it's talking about how the girls, the little kids in the movie are that. And now I didn't see it, but I did watch Dan Fan. I don't know if you watch her at all. She's kind of she does like an independent comic, but she does this show every Friday and talks. And then my kid likes to watch her because she says it looks like my other kid. And so she thinks they're like talking about like on FaceTime. So then so I caught she was talking about that review, and she was talking about the article, and she was talking about how it was. So they make the kids in the show, the cartoon that's for children, like fawning over boys. But then the one is drawn like pictures of like the boy, and then it's like a dirty book, like it's like pornography, because then the mom's like, "Oh, did he do this to you?" And then it turns into this whole thing, and then she goes to threaten him. And he's an older boy, so it has that weird, like man-child relationship thing, and she's drawn a disgusting pornographic stuff, and it's in there in a kid's movie, and so there's this weird conversation about it. And then so I don't go after that stuff. I don't look for it, but it just kept showing up in my Twitter feed of like, oh, promoted this, and I'm like, nah, not for me. And there was this one guy in there, and he had made some kind of statement, and they mob attacked him. So I just said, no, that doesn't make sense because of this. And so then the mob attacked me, and I even talked about it on Twitter. I talked about it somewhere. And it's just crazy how it was, where the one person that was first attacking me, by the end of our Twitter fight, she actually conceded and saw that I said I wasn't attacking any of this. What I was saying is this was just weird. It was weird how this is what's being promoted, and it's being promoted for a wide audience. It's being pushed to an audience for everybody, but it has a small, like the message behind it and everything behind it has a very small, real audience. And that's all I was trying to say. So then at the end of the conversation, she conceded, but along the way, I got attacked for days and days and days. And basically people calling me an idiot and a moron because I didn't understand how women worked, because I had just made that simple, because then they went with the whole, female going through puberty conversation. And I said, well, one, it's not for everybody. How would you feel if it was just the opposite and it was a boy going through puberty, and then they instantly
Bonerville.
Yeah, they instantly started calling me a dummy, comparing boners to periods, and it's not sexual. And I said, well, actually, it is. And I pulled up all kinds of research and articles and showed them that I was right and they were wrong, and I knew more about their bodies than they did. And that turned even more fun. So they extended the Twitter war for like a week, and they just continued to call me moron. But I was just like, nobody wants to listen to this and hear about this. And everybody knows. And that was the argument. They were trying to say that, periods are normal and natural. I said, well, nobody wants to see a movie about a little boy getting boners going through puberty. Nobody wants to see that type of stuff. Yeah. You can make the movie, you can do that, but it was never marketed the way they're writing these articles and talking about it. It was marketed for the general audience. And I wasn't really into the art. I didn't think it was all that great, especially coming out of Disney, Pixar. So those were my two gripes. They were valid, and they attacked me like I was the crazy person. And again,
you probably didn't even see
everyone else complained about it. Because if I was wrong, then how come that's not how they marketed it? How come the period jokes and the sex jokes and the weirdo stuff that was in there wasn't in the trailer?
Yeah, no, it was. Me and the wife watched it when my mom came in town, and we were looking for a movie to watch, and we're like, okay, well, let's check it out. Let's see how it is. And of course, my daughter, she's 4, so she'll okay, cool, and then just take off, run around and run in the hallway up and down and stuff. So we're like, well, we're kind of halfway in, about a quarter in, and let's watch and see if we could pick out the agenda and stuff in it, right? Yeah. And so it was weird because it's like it takes place in Canada in like late 1998, 1999. Yeah. So just like flip phones just came out, and they're talking about boy bands, and it's a group of 3 friends and their girls, and they're swooning about like boy bands like NSYNC and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, okay, if this is the age bracket that they're trying, let's say what age? It's hard to figure out who the movie is for, because kids didn't grow up with boy bands. If your age bracket is 5 to 12 or whatever, they didn't grow up listening to NSYNC and boy bands and stuff, so they don't understand that. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's for the moms, because that's probably the moms, that's the age, because that's when we were in high school, that's what was big, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, blah blah blah, all that stuff, So I was like, okay, maybe that's kind of there for the moms. But then there's a bunch of references for we got to go to this concert because then we're going to be a woman. And then the little Asian girl, she's acting like an adult. Like doesn't act like a kid.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Well, I'm old now, so I'm an adult now. So I'm doing this, and this. And so pretty much the premise, the whole story is that she is trying to live. It's hard for her to live up to the expectations of the mom. Pretty much the mom is the villain. And the mom is totally over the top to where she's like following her at school and stuff like that. And the mom gets that from her mother. So it's another thing that's like kind of like in Kanto, where for some reason they like making family the bad guys for some reason.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no like villain.
Right.
And so we're watching this and we're just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, and you're right, the animation is goofy. So it's just like, okay, if you were going to animate that in and kind of go for teen, it's probably more of a teen type movie. You wouldn't animate it to where it would look like a kids, like super kids movie. Like it looks like a super kids, like
my
little
kid wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
And I already said absolutely not.
And then you're just like, okay, but the thing is that they draw the parents normal, but they draw the kids to look stupid like that. And so we're just like, this is, and it's about like lying to not disappoint. So there's some kind of like things that's kind of sprinkled in there. Like, okay, here your mother, she gets in trouble. And when her mom blames her friends, she doesn't say that it's her idea because she doesn't want to disappoint her mother. So it's like, okay, that's relatable. But it's like towards the last third or last quarter of the movie, of course, the dad's there, and he's not really saying anything. And he's kind of a schlubby dude, and he's just like, okay, yes, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, and I'm calling it the dad's not saying stuff. And it almost feels like they had to go to somebody that's like a real writer and say, listen, real writer person, you have to save this movie in this last quarter of the movie. And the real writer person is like, okay. Because that's what happens all of a sudden when she's gonna give up the power, because they always contain the panda power in order to keep it under control.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah,
the mother would turn into a giant panda, and it was based on like the pressure, I guess, that the grandmother would give her. But she turned into a giant panda over arguing with the grandmother about her husband, the dad.
Yeah,
because the grandmother didn't approve of him, and she was like, listen, I'm gonna marry this guy. And so that's when she loses control and she became big. So that's why they contained whatever, right? But you don't know that until the dad. So finally, like, you're like, okay, whatever's going on to this movie, she's gonna keep the panda, she's not gonna keep the panda, like, what is she, and then
but the panda was supposed to represent periods, like that was the whole point of it.
Yeah. Well, then the panda, and then the dad comes, and like kind of when the dad comes, it turns into a real movie because the dad does dad shit.
Yeah.
He comes in, he's like, well, your mother argued, really got out of control because she was arguing with your grandmother about me. And if this is what makes you happy, because he finds her camera and their friends are always taking goofy photos and stuff. And he's like, you're a panda and you're looking happy. He's like, do what makes you happy. He's being a dad. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like, okay, cool. So he's a dad for like 5 minutes of the movie, drops the wisdom bomb, boom. Mm-hmm. And then he's just kind of like in the background again. But it's like they literally were like, they let whoever was right. It's all 90% women in this freaking movie. Like you're looking at the credits, you're like, okay, it's like they let the women do their stuff. And then finally they had to go to someone like, listen, you got to save this fucking movie. We can't put this in theaters.
That sounds like reality, though.
So the ending is like, okay, it makes sense. Like, okay, but she kind of learns, but she kind of has to. She shoves it in her face and kind of learns that it's not the end of the world if he doesn't disappoint her mom. But she's not really taking responsibility to like I was doing horrible things,
right?
So it's like,
and then you watched it with the family. But realistically, though, and I like animated movies and I like cartoons and stuff. But realistically, it's not a guy movie.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. No. You gonna watch it again?
Oh, hell no.
Right. So the demographic for this is one, it's women, and it's leaning more towards the weirdo women with maybe a little crossover from some people that just want to see a fun movie for them and whatever because it's the new popular thing. But
probably more for like adult women and moms, maybe, and even like 16 to 18, maybe. It's not for little girls.
No.
Because it's boring. It would be boring as shit.
It was marketed to the general Disney fan. It was when you watch that first trailer, even though I don't like the animation, I think it's goofy. That trailer is marketed to people that like Disney, and that's everybody. The guys, the kids, the boys, the little girl, like everybody that likes Disney stuff, and that's who it's marketed for. But then when you look at the core of everything, there was that bait and switch. The whole thing was screwed up, and then the core of it, it's a crappy movie.
Yeah,
but its audience is very, very small.
Yeah. They made the right move not putting that shit in theaters.
My Panda, My Choice.
Yeah,
it was in the movie.
Yeah, at the end. She's
I thought he was joking.
Yeah, no. They run a shrine. So at the end, the panda shrine. So at the end, she starts doing like having the ears and the tail, but not fully transformation. And so the mom's like, "You're not going out like that." And she's like, "My Panda, My Choice." And she's like, "Very well." And I was like, "Ooh."
Wow, that was
So then there's the whole LGBT, tying it in there. You got to get them points.
Well, I think these things are autobiographical. It's kind of like we keep hearing about teachers and whatnot that are like coming out to their students or something.
Which is crazy.
It's absolute insanity. But like these things are so autobiographical. They're using, in this case, entertainment, writing, creating as therapy. The woman who made this probably had some kind of traumatic experience with her period.
Yeah, it's like 3 women that did it, and you were just
she's
like,
well, I don't want other girls to have to go through this, but she's writing it from her perspective as a woman,
right?
So, like you said, it's not going to appeal to kids. It's not going to make sense to them. It's not for them at all. It's it's for women who can feel that same whatever embarrassment or whatever they felt when they first had their period. I have 3 daughters, and it's funny, they were all with me every time it happened. So.
and I can understand that from being a dad and understanding that whole situation. However, that's not even how they marketed the movie, and from what I understand it, that wasn't the big part of it. Like that was like in there, but that wasn't the core of it. Like it was all the other weirdo shit.
Yeah.
But it's similar to comic titles now. Everyone jokes about Tom King writing autobiographically. They're like, every character sounds like him. And it's like, then he's like praises a great writer, and it's like, no, he's not a great writer.
Well, that I think is the trick, because he's ex-CIA. And they claim that he was like, not really. He was like a janitor or some shit, but like, nah, He was in there. Like, I don't trust him. I don't trust anything that comes out of him.
I don't either. But that's just because everything I've ever heard him say sounds
Starkiller Base.
ridiculous.
He's Finn in Starkiller Base. He just was the janitor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's just Hitler had janitors too, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, it was weird. Like, that was part of
my association.
That was part of the curiosity of us watching it. Like, me, my mom, and my wife are watching it, and we're like, "Who is this for?" Like, we're just like, our brain, the wheels are just turning. We're like, "Who is?"
It's the same thing. Going to the store, looking at bedtime stories for my kid. There's a Ruth Bader Ginsburg book, bedtime story. No freaking kid wants that. So who's that for? That's for the weirdos. It's for the adults, and maybe the really weirdos that were buying it for their kid for real. That's who that's for. Yeah, because you know that they made like a Ruth Bader Ginsburg
the aunt with 20 cats. For the aunt with 20 cats to give their niece or nephew.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the book. This is so progressive. Here's the book, and it's just
despite
like
their parents,
or like the weird mom. Their mom's weird friend that they've been in contact with since like high school, and she comes around every once in a while. And she's kind of weird, and you kind of put up with her, but she's kind of weird. Yeah. And she gives you, here's this book. I'm sure, cool.
Yeah.
A couple pages, and then just we'll just put that over there.
No, and I'm just like, what the hell?
Carol.
It's the same thing. No, and that's what you get. That's really what you get. So this all started, I think, with the back in the late 90s. And I remember this because the first time I ever heard of it, my brother, and he was only 2 years younger than me. So he was playing soccer. And when he was playing soccer, that was the first time I heard of everyone gets a trophy. And I remember, and my dad was big on, language. My mom swore like a sailor, but like very rarely I could get away with like swearing as a kid in front of my dad and without him like, telling me to knock it off. But he told me that as I said, as I was bored, he made me go with him and wait for my brother's soccer game. And I was bored. And so we sat in the car because he refused to sit on the bleachers. And so we sat in the car waiting for my brother to finish. And I said, all right, who won? And he goes, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I said, well, who's getting the trophy? And he goes, they all get a trophy. I said, what the fuck? And he goes, yeah. and right then and there, I lost it. I went on this whole rant in the car, like right then and there. I said that those kids are going to grow up and be like crappy people because just not ever having that winner loser thing and understanding and grasping realities, they're going to think the world is handed to them and owed to them. And these are going to grow up to be shitty people. And I said that back in the late 90s. And then look what we got.
Yep.
And then you take those shitty people, and now they're getting jobs that they never wanted anyway, but they fit a check mark on a piece of paper. They fit one of those boxes, and they never wanted to work there in the first place. And then they're also getting paid. Sometimes I know that some of these situations you can see where they're getting paid a lot less, but sometimes they're getting paid a lot more than the previous people that worked there. Like usually the executives that fit the checks boxes, they get paid a lot more.
So my dad shamed me into basically throwing my trophy away when I got one of those. And it wasn't even like everyone gets a trophy. It was like a second or third place or something like that. But he's like, how do you feel about that? And I'm like, it sucks. I wanted first, and he's like, well, do you think you should get a trophy then? And I was like, no.
Well, it's a good way to think of it because that's all. If you're not first, you're last. Like it's a real thing. I mean, they make fun of it. Ricky Bobby, the whole Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last. But it's so freaking true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to strive to do better, like and I can understand having second place and third place. I can understand that in the sports world. But when you're accepting mediocrity and then you don't strive to ever be better, so then you're only striving to be mediocre. So then those people are striving to be less and less and less. So eventually we're in this land of idiocracy, just like the movie, because nobody gives a shit, and it's just a constant thing. So actually, I can understand where your dad's coming from. I don't know if I would have did it that way, but I can understand it.
He was a pretty hardcore guy, though. But yeah, he's also the one when he was in a martial arts tournament. and he ended up winning. And I mean, the trophies for martial arts tournaments are like ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
Yeah,
I watched
he just handed it to my brother and me. He was like, "You guys want this?" You know, like it was like no big thing. Like he wasn't doing it for the trophy; he was doing it to compete. Yeah. He wanted to see. He was 42, and he was like, he just wanted to see how he would do against other men. You know, so same age as I am right now, and I'm like, that's pretty impressive because, you know, I think I can hold my own in a lot of ways, but to go into a tournament against everybody there, straight up killers, you know, everybody just wanted to, I mean, in physical combat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a hardcore guy.
No, that's cool. Yeah, my dad wasn't. He was my stepdad, and he was a very large man. Like, he was not as big as Andre the Giant, but like he had that bigger than average guy. Like his skull was huge. Like compared to a normal person's skull, it was huge. And then on top of that, he was fat. Like, but I'm saying like his hands, like I've got big hands for a guy, but his hands were like way bigger than mine. And so he had like some kind of thyroid thing. Like he had like adult man's 13 size shoe in kindergarten. So he had like something wrong with his thyroid. So he was a big man. And so he was real fat, but he didn't he didn't change tires. Like he didn't do normal guy shit. So I taught myself how to do that type of stuff. I taught myself because my dad would get a flat tire and he would call AAA.
Right.
You know, so that's what I had. So I appreciate, you know, something like your dad, like that type of stuff. And that's what I've tried to do. Like, you know, get my hands dirty, fix it, do it, whatever I got to do, because my dad wasn't like that.
Yeah. And that's good for a man, and it's good for you to take up that mantle and be like, well, no, I know this is what a guy should do.
Right.
My problem is like he set such a high bar that I'm like, damn it, I can't do half the things he did.
Yeah, see, I almost envy you in that because I know that there's things that I could probably push myself to do better if I had that. My dad's bar was so low with stuff like that. It was always calling somebody, always having somebody do something, and I've just always just done it on my own.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good for you for doing that, though.
Yeah, no, and I do look at it that. I don't look at that negatively. I just said, like, if my dad was like a real, like, man's man, then, like, I think I would push myself harder. I think that would be. Yeah, no. And then
JBot, that's looking really awesome, by the way, with the color.
No, I do. I really like that, man.
I still haven't got her palette yet, so that's what I'm trying to figure out here. I see it in my head. I see the shirt as pink, even though her hair's pink. I see this shirt pink all the time, so I'm trying to figure.
What I'm seeing, and I could be wrong until the whole thing's finished. It might change it, but I'm seeing her hair's pink, her shirt's pink, and then her skin's not pink, but it looks pink because you have just so much pink in there. So yeah, I don't know. I like the hair though. I do like the hair.
Yeah, the hair's the hair staying no matter what. It's pink hair. Everything else I can check.
So I would say maybe do a different shirt or like a different shade of pink, because like for some reason without other color, well, the black might help there, but like without the other colors really popping, it just makes me, even though I know the skin tone's not pink, it just my brain thinks it is.
Well, you could probably swap the logo color with the shirt color. So
and then make the logo pink
on her shirt. Yeah. But yeah, with the pink hair and then her skin looks just, it's almost like, even though you can tell they're different shades.
Yeah.
It did have,
but nonetheless,
it was blue.
And that robot arm looks really awesome.
The robot arm is badass. I like the whole idea. And I asked him why he went with that. Like there was like a reason, and he's just like, nah, just wanted to give it to her. And like he had a reason behind it, but it wasn't like special, you know, like. And it wasn't a loaded question, but I was just trying to get the real answer what it was, because you see a lot of this now in the weirdos. And not saying that Jay was a weirdo, but he's like, oh, look, I made this handicap character. Give me my points. High five for me. Yeah. And he didn't. That wasn't the answer at all. So I thought that was cool. I was honestly expecting like, oh, I had a family member that had one arm, and that's what I was actually really expecting.
Oh no,
not at all. It was really cool.
I figured that.
See, I relate with that.
Her personality, she's very tenacious. She's very positive. She's very upbeat.
Yeah.
She always wants to figure stuff out.
You can see that in her face, determined.
And with and so it's like, well, it's easy to be that if you're like fine, like if you're normal. But I'm like, well, what if she was like what if she was missing an arm or something. Especially, I was thinking like, okay, you're using your hands when you're building stuff,
right?
Yeah,
No, it's so cool, and I just see a scene where her arm gets damaged, and it's just so easy for her to be vulnerable again. I think it's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's just something that she has, but it's something that she's. So then that's her working. I just got the mental image of this, of her working stuff with one hand, with one arm, working on stuff. And I was like, dude, that's cool.
Not to be to feed the beast, but you're not doing it for that reason. But you know what? This whole thing would get points with certain groups of people, and this would get this book in the store.
Very true.
100%, bro.
I will say that you captured personality expression so well on her face there. And real quick, I would say good night to Dragon Pisces. Says he's going to bed. But
yeah, good night, Dragon Pisces. Thanks for stopping by, bud. Get some sleep.
All right, brother. Catch you later, man.
First Best Entertainment had a comment that like I related to the most. So when you were talking about having a dad who was like that, like that's how I felt. He kind of just always made me super independent because because that's how he was. He's like, yeah, you'll figure it out. That's what I did.
Well, I did the same thing, but it was the complete opposite. I was just like, I'm not calling AAA. I'm not paying somebody to do something I can do. I taught myself how to change a tire, and I did all kinds of things. And it was funny, right? So like when my wife and I first got together, and she's a little woman, like she's short, she's like 5'6", 5'7", and she's tiny, like $110, and she calls me. She was pregnant at the time too. We were moving from Virginia Beach, where we were moving back to New York we were moving somewhere else, Rhode Island. We were moving to Rhode Island, and she's pregnant, and so she was going to do something. So I load up the car. I'm packing up the U-Haul by myself. We lived on the second floor, and I'm packing and we had not the U-Haul, but we had gotten the those pods where they drop the pod off, you fill it up, they take it and deliver. So we did that because I was like, well, she's pregnant. This is going on. This will be just so much easier. Yeah. And so we did the pods, and I'm all by myself. All of our furniture, all of everything, moving it up, down the stairs, all by myself and loading it in. I get a phone call. Hey, I got a flat tire. And now this is coming from a woman who it's very clear that she looked up to her dad a lot growing up. And so she's into sports. She's into football. She's into that. And she's got a little bit of a tomboy thing in her, but she's like always making fun of women who don't do things and can't do things. And so I've always heard her the entire time that we were together of how she can change a tire, and she knows how to change a tire. And so she calls me and she goes, my tire's flat. So instantly I'm like, pregnant, I gotta go right now. Yeah. And so I get there, but I'm like, I start laughing. I start dying laughing because she didn't even get far from the house. It was like really right down to the corner at the gas station. So it wasn't even far. And so I just start laughing because I was like, oh, you can change the tire, huh? The thing is, she physically couldn't. That was the thing. So separate from being pregnant, I'd rather her not.
Get a belly
she could not physically get the lug nuts off. Mm. Oh, and it's just a thing that she was honest with me at that point, but like, you don't see that in a lot of stuff today. Like the reality of like, yeah, I can do this and I can do that.
Difference in strength. Yeah.
So she was taught how to change her tire by her father, but I wasn't, and she just couldn't physically do it. And so she had AAA because her family had got it for her every single year, and then it like extended after like the first year or two that we were still married, that we got married, that she still had it. So because then I even joked, I said you should call AAA. You're never going to get to use it. Yeah. But no, I did it for her, and it was just that whole thing that her father made sure she knew how to do it, but she couldn't physically do it.
Yeah, and that's a real thing, and I think an honest woman wants to know, or kind of not revel in it, but like live in who they are and who their man is. Even if they can do it, they still want you to do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I've always been attracted to extremely, and it's been to my detriment, because extremely independent women that are like fiercely good at and wanting to do anything, because I'm like, well, that's more attractive than some girl who's looking for a meal ticket or a doormat or something, so
those are the ones that stay around, though.
I know.
The independent ones got to go.
But I'm not attracted to them. But at the same time, they would always still, at the heart of things, be like, yeah, I could do this, but they kind of like the traditional role. They're like, but you're the man, like, I'd rather you do it. And I'm like, I'd rather do it too, because I'll do it better. But
yeah.
It's also part, I think women like to be taken care of too, no matter how much they like to,
and guys like to take care of
they
women.
Like to say no and independence and stuff. It's like, hey, you're like, hey babe, want to make you a sandwich? Like, or whatever, I'm making breakfast. You want, what I mean, or whatever. I think anybody does. You don't necessarily have to be a woman, but I think everybody likes
that's true.
Being able to be taken care of and stuff,
It's just I think those traditional roles are really embedded in us, though, and that
they are.
They appreciate it. I think a lot of times women will do that stuff out of necessity, because a lot of times they deal with men who are just not men. They're not either capable or willing to do that stuff. So women like to be taken care of. Guys like to take care of them, but guys like to be taken care of, and women like to take care of men. So it's always a given.
Yeah. No, and that's how things are normal and natural. Like, it just happens. Like, it's not even expected. It just happens, right?
You don't have to define it.
Right. And so in our situation, the roles have changed, because I was able to get out of the Navy. And so we were in the Navy together, and she wanted to get married. And so I was getting out first, so I could have extended and stayed in, but she wanted to get married. And if I was getting out, then we'd get married, and she wanted to get out. But then she had this like panic thing. So she had like about a year left. So she stayed in. We moved back to New York. She stayed in. And then like right before she was getting out, she like basically panicked and was like, I need to have a good job and I need to have money. And so she re-enlisted. So she's basically stuck on this career path to finish out her 20 years. And it's fine. It's whatever. I don't think broads belong in the military. I just am an old sexist person, but I've also seen how there's the rule and the exception. How you were saying how like sometimes women need to be taken care of and do that. Well, I mean, you see the most of that faking in a military situation where they're like, can you carry this for me? Can you do this for me? And there's just so much of that. And then there's so many of them that show up there looking for a spouse and looking for a meal ticket and never really want to be there in the first place. So there's the rule and the exception. Now, my wife, she does have that tomboy aspect. She was raised right. And, she lived out in the country in Ohio. So like, there's her whole upbringing is 100% different. Her father was a coal miner. There's a whole different mentality with her and how she was raised. So her being there, she's there to do a job and go home. But just like most women, she doesn't want to be there. She wants to be at home. And so this is the path we chose. So because of that, I'm now a stay-at-home dad. I'm doing the cooking. I'm doing the cleaning. And now the cleaning, I'm not the best at. It's clean. I do the laundry, but you would call it more picked up and I vacuumed.
Well, you have a young kid that's really hard to keep clean.
What was that?
You have a young child. That makes it really hard to keep
clean. It is. And she's horrible because she literally acts like a cat. And we've said this from the day she was born. Out of all the children, I think she was originally a cat. She revels and is happiest when there's a mess. And I actually have a picture on my phone of where I had just cleaned, and then I came back in the room and the entire floor was a mess of the room I just cleaned, and I cleaned it so I can then come in and vacuum, and she put it all a mess. And then to stop me from cleaning the mess, she laid on top of all of the trash and stuff that she put on the floor. It was just like rolling around on the floor like a cat, and I had to take a picture, and that's how it is. And so then I figured that out. And then as soon as I'm figuring that out, she's already wrecked another room. And she doesn't play. She just throws her toys everywhere and then goes to a different room. And this is a daily basis. I probably clean up those Lego toys probably 5-6 times a day.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. No. So that's it literally is the worst. And I say all the time, I say, I love her to death. And sometimes she's cute, but I can't wait till she's a little bit older and she stops doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
there's a different challenge for a different
my wife
age.
Doesn't cook. Huh?
I said, there's a different challenge for a different age though.
Oh, there always is. There always is. Yeah, because right now she's in this phase that she's 5, so she thinks she's 45, and so she wants to do everything by herself, and she can't. So she's constantly doing things that are like, I have never talked through my teeth more than this year. And realistically the past 2 months, but like it's like nonstop, constant nonstop. So I have the Force Effects lightsabers, like the ridiculous ones that, you know, they got the lights and the sound. So, and behind me I got these statues. She gets them all the time, and I take them away and I put them in places where she can't just have them, and somehow she always manages to get them, and then I tell her not to do them in this room ever, and then next thing I know, she's whacking the shelf with all the statues up there, and I'm like, do not do that. And it's just a constant thing, and this is a very new subject. So then, like, what was it? She asked me for hot dogs, so I bought hot dogs, and then I said, "Do you want me to make you a hot dog?" No, I don't like them anymore. Okay, all right. Well, that was a waste of a package of hot dogs, but at least I could put them in the freezer, and maybe one day you'll like them again. And so then I said, "Are you hungry?" She goes, "No, not now." So I said, okay. So I'm upstairs, and I think I was cleaning the bathroom or something. And then she comes in, she goes, "I made you hot dogs." She said, and she has like fake food, and she has like a fake kitchen in her room. So I just assumed that's what it was. No, she took the entire package of hot dogs. She put the entire package of hot dogs in the microwave, and she turned it on for God knows how long, because when I came downstairs, it smelled like fire. And the package didn't melt. It opened, so that was cool because I didn't have like this melted plastic thing like that. But then it just was, I had no idea how long she had run it for. So, and she learned her lesson. She hasn't done it since. But and that was, I didn't even have to like lose my mind. But it was just the pissed off, disappointed dad thing, and that she's never touched the microwave since. But it's just like, why? Why? You didn't do this yesterday. You asked me for like dumb things, but you're going to help yourself to hot dogs and put them in the microwave, and you didn't even want them in the first place.
At least you tried to make you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thought that counts.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, every age is a different challenge, and this one is right now. I'm at the talking through my teeth phase.
That was the toughest for me. I think was right after toddler. You know,
she does this thing now where she's like, "Well, I don't like it." I'm like, "You always eat this. Like every time, you know, you say how good it is, you know, Mama makes it, you always eat it." Oh, she's like, "Well, I don't like it." I'm like, "You better take a bite." You're like, "Take a bite right now."
Stop challenging me.
And then she's like, "That's great."
Oh yeah, like, I find I have to do the reverse psychology. So I have to get her to try to trick me with reverse psychology. Then I reverse that, and then she does exactly what I wanted.
Nice.
Like, and it's this weird game. It happens almost on a daily basis. Everything's an argument, everything. And then she does this thing. There's two things that she repeats all the time. If she doesn't want to do something, I can't do that. It's too dangerous. It's time to put your pajamas on. It's bedtime. No, it's too dangerous. I can't wear jammies. You can't wear those. It's very hot. It's going to be too hot sleeping in that. She goes, no. And then she'll pick the shorts and the t-shirt that I'll say, go sleep in these jammies. No, there's too hot. Too hot. Shorts are too hot. I need to wear these. These are cold, and it's like furry, like giant, ridiculous pajamas, and it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm just like, you know, no matter what I say. And then I was like, we got to go to the store today. She goes, no, we don't. So I picked her up. I put her in the car from the house to the store. She screamed and cried and yelled at me the entire time. We get to the store, and she goes, I don't want to be at the store. We need to go to the one with the orange cart. I said, the fucking orange cart doesn't sell food. That's Home Depot.
But they have the car, man.
Go to Home Depot.
Did you drop an F-bomb, though?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
That time I think I did.
I'm not going to hold it against you. I was just...
Yeah. No. That time I think I did. I try not to, but that time I was just like, from the house to the store, it was just her screaming at me and yelling at me the entire time that she wanted to go home and she didn't need to go to the store. And I was just like, if we don't go to the store, we don't have food. Like, there's not much left, and I'm not going to order. She goes, just order it. I said, I'm not going to order food every day because you want to be difficult. And then by the time we're in the store, she's yelling at me at the top of her lungs that she wanted to go to the store with the orange cart. And I was just like, we can't go there. Pretty sure I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but gentlemen, I need to, speaking of putting food on the table, or, I need to get up early. So
yeah, no problem, brother.
No, it was great talking with you guys.
What's the time difference over there?
Well, I'm Pacific time, so I'm all the way on the other side of the U.S.
I got that, but I never did the math. So it's 2 o'clock here.
3 hours.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
It's not bad, except for like I get
up. No, you got to get up early. I get that.
Get up.
I look at the time, and you always say you got to go. You got to get up early. So in my brain, even though I knew you were over there, I'm like, oh man, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. He's got to get up early. Like I just keep thinking that in my brain. So, yeah, no, man. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. It was good conversing, and JBot, the artwork is coming along smashingly. I think that looks great.
No, it really does,
man. Drawn next time. I'm gonna try and do this every week. So
yeah. Like I said, they have that Tuesday night thing at the movie theaters. So if it's a good one, I'll be there. But I'm pop in late. But yeah, I'm always down.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes too, because a bunch of guys are streaming now. I mean, it's like Ethan.
We're going up against Ethan right now. He's got like 1,000 people.
Yeah, that's always the thing when you were like, "Are you going to stream?" I'm like, there's not a good time. Like everybody.
And I understand your thought on that, but like the last one that we did, that one we didn't have a crazy amount. I think the most people we had during the stream was 17. There's 100 views now.
Yeah.
So people are watching it on the back end.
Yeah, and I think people pop in and out, because if they're watching like several streams, so you might see them, they're hanging out.
Yeah, and that does happen too. But even like
some big channel, so
yeah.
But that said, I think I just prefer it. Then I don't have to worry about keeping up on the chats and stuff.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, so then if Jay's going to run one every week, and then I'm running 2.
Yeah,
I mean that's fine. That's fine. No, and if you ever want to go on your channel, then we're still running 3 days. I think that might be fine, because the days we go long, like I'm wrecked the next day, so I need a day. I need a day in between.
Yeah, those are pretty rough. So, but yeah, no, I have fun, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, just play it by ear. At this point, I just love popping in and hanging out with you guys.
Real quick before you leave, I was thinking, like, you were there last night when they were talking about doing the movie stream. What do you think of that?
I'd be down. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so they were talking, and they were mentioning about doing if we got bigger, and I'm down to do it sooner. I don't care. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen other people do it. So we would get on, and we would do whatever, talk for a little bit, and hey guys, welcome, come on, blah blah blah, and then we would basically turn all our cameras off so we're not distracting, and we would just watch a movie, the same movie, all at the same time. We'd start all at the same time, and then the chat would watch the movie with us, and then we would still be live, and we would all be talking and laughing, and the chat would be going, and they would be, and they wanted, a couple people wanted to do that, and I was already thinking about it anyway because I love movies, and I just didn't know if people would be into it. And then I looked into it today. There's a couple ways to do it. The main way would be, here's the movie we're going to watch, and everybody figure out how to watch it. And then we're going to start it right now. And then if somebody's like trying to catch up or whatever, we just kind of, hey, we're at this part, and then it catches them up. But then there's a way to do it through Twitch where you can then stream Amazon movies. And then even though we wouldn't be able to put it on YouTube, everybody would just watch the screen just like they're watching us, and then the whole movie would be playing and we'd be live. And then there was another way to do it through Discord, which is the same kind of way. It would play it like you were streaming a game, but instead of streaming the game, you stream the movie and everybody through Discord. And again, it wouldn't be through YouTube. So it seems like the best way to do that one would be this is the movie we're going to watch, figure out how you're going to watch it, and we're going to do this. And so I don't know if it's something you're into, Jay.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
Because then I was already doing the 80s movies on Sunday. So, I mean, if you guys want to do that, it'd be easier, and maybe go earlier, and maybe not necessarily do it on Sunday. Like maybe do it on maybe like Friday night or something, like where, I don't know, what's you work Monday through Friday, Odin?
Yeah, I work Monday through Friday, and then, but I get my daughters on the weekends, most weekends. Yeah. Sometimes I have weekends off, but, and then when I have them, I really don't even think about any of this stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I get that. I'm not trying to take your family time away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monday through Friday, I'm available all the evenings, as long as it's not, like ending at this time is about where I'm at. I could go a little later, but
yeah. So I mean, if we try to start a little earlier, if we try to start around 11, because the past few nights I've been able to get my kid into bed at a decent time and her to not be difficult. So I could maybe go a little earlier. And so if we did that, like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour movie, and then call it a night, I'd be down.
No, I'd be down for that. And pretty much if it's scheduled, I kind of go, I can push it a little bit on this night and make it up on the next night, kind of thing too. So
yeah.
But yeah, if it was scheduled, I'd be down.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna bust out for now.
I'm gonna wrap up too in about 10 minutes anyway. So
okay, cool. Well, guys, have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
All right, brother.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah, all right, catch you later. Let's see. Yeah, I like the shirt. I like switching it up. Was that an R on her shirt?
Yeah, it's an R.
Why is that familiar? There's something familiar about an R on a shirt.
You know what? The more I look at it, the more it looks like Team Rocket from Pokemon.
Yep, there you go. And I didn't know Pokemon, but I knew the R. So what's the R stand for?
It's for Robo Girl.
Robo Girl.
But I could change it. I'm not married to it. But that's how I see an R. Nice R in her.
Yeah. No, maybe it wouldn't be bad, but like, yeah, I just think the R, like the Team Rocket thing. It just looked familiar just seeing her with the R.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll change it to something else. I don't know what yet.
Yeah. No, it's definitely cool. I'm liking the colors on it.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with the boots and the I like the shirt. I like, pretty much what's going on with the midsection. I like the color of the arm. Not sure about the gloves and the boots yet. So we'll have to see on those. What color they might be. Maybe I'll make them a different color. I was trying to make them look like work gloves and work boots, but I did like the contrast of the yellow, but I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming out decent. This is a little fun piece. I probably won't, probably do some shading on it and coloring and then call it. I'm not gonna.
What if you did I like her yellow boots. I like that. So what if you made the glove more tan, like a leather glove?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to do black. Because technically she's working on a robot thing. So generally a lot of times they use like rubber gloves for to save them from electricity. But like a brownish, more tan, like a cowhide glove.
Yeah.
Less yellow. I like the yellow boots. So I think the yellow boots are really cool.
Let's see. Let's try something like this. That's too fleshy. Yeah, too brown. I know what color you're talking about. That's one that I was thinking about. Like trying to do.
It's not your baseball glove like brown, but it's like what you had there wasn't bad. That first one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I kind of like it. I mean,
maybe
I don't know if you're gonna like try to shade it or you're trying to like, or you're just doing. I don't understand terminology and stuff with colors, but so I'm not even gonna try.
So these are your base colors, and then you do your shading and your highlights on it. So this is what they call flats. Yeah, this is what they call flats.
Okay. So yeah, as I was just saying, this color here that you just put on, it may be a little darker, but this color here with some shading and some accents and stuff and whatever, I think could be really sharp. Yeah, I like the darker brown too. I like that because then it makes the boots stand out more. Before, I felt that the boots they matched the gloves, so then it just seemed like a outfit thing. Like the glove wasn't part of her working on the arm; it was just part of her entire outfit.
Yeah. I think her having the the work gloves on. I think it's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's cool. No, I do. I like your character. I think it's gonna be really good for CG, having a kid's book, and then just again that whole idea that, she does have one arm, and Earth's Best Entertainment said here that I know he left already. He had to bounce, but he said, how was it? I know a little girl who was born with one arm and would probably appreciate the character. So like you have that whole market. So one, you have pretty much all the little girl market, but then that added bonus of people that have been born different, and just that whole idea of the tenacity that she has to overcome, her obstacles. Like that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, and I just felt it fit. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that I wasn't like, well, she's gonna be like this and that, and we're checking these boxes. It's like, you know what? I think this will fit and make the character more interesting.
Yeah, no, that's when I asked you, I knew it wasn't a loaded question. I figured that wasn't what it was. I honestly expected you to go, oh well, my niece has one arm, and so I really expected that answer, and so just the way you said it and everything, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes simple's better. I was like, oh, that'd be neat. Let's do it.
Yeah. No, I like it. I do like it.
It makes it more more interesting and stuff. But yeah, that's when it's done for the right reason, not because, well, we need a person that looks like this, so let's blah 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 blah. It's like
right.
Well, when you're an artist too, sometimes you see them a certain way. Like I'll write a character. Sometimes I know that I can't think of everything off the top of my head, and I'll be like, you know what? It's like, I think he's a black guy. Mm-hmm. That's the vibe.
Well, I know for a fact that what I'm going to do in my book is I grew up in not a big city, but I grew up in a city, and I grew up seeing stereotypes, and I grew up in different cultures and seeing different people from different heritages. And so I'm going to put stereotypes in my book, not just to put them there, but that's what I know. I grew up with that type of stuff. Like I grew up with, the wino on the corner. I understand, things and how people. So I'm going to put that type of stuff in not all my books, but the one book that's set more in reality. And I don't care what SJWs think, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it, because that's real life.
Yeah, it's your story.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the thing. So yeah, that's the thing is I'm not going down a list to fit the thing. However, you do have to understand that your character, even though that's not what you're setting out to do, it's going to appeal to those weirdos. And I'm saying your book could end up in a store. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be a huge win.
That'd be nice. Yeah, it would be a win.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, use it. Like, don't feed into the beast, but use the beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'd rather, and I mean, for you and your success, I would rather see your book in Barnes and Nobles as opposed to Amazon. Because unless you're doing a physical book, I don't know how well, because I know you can do that self-publishing thing on Amazon, and I don't know how well that pays out. I don't know, because then people got to find it.
Yeah.
Through a whole sea of everyone else doing this. And so then they got to like basically search in the thing of, one-armed robot girl. Like, they have to be so specific to probably stumble across your book. And then how many is that going to sell? And that whole thing. But if you get that in a store where somebody can grab that and see that, and I just think that's really cool. And this is a type of character, and this whole thing is like, I could see this being pushed on a stupid show like Good Morning America, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Because at its core, obviously I haven't read the book yet, but at its core, just seeing the character and all this stuff, and just seeing how she's drawn, and that you have that level of innocence that you can clearly see there's obviously no agenda here. Mm-hmm. And real people connect with that type of stuff. So that's why I could see it being pushed on a morning talk show to all the moms. I don't know if you ever think about stuff like that.
Not really. I mean, it's always good bonus stuff to be like, cool, But right, I just want to do something. Like if I was a kid or something that'd be interesting, or something that would I would want my daughter to read, or something that I think is cool. Like that's what I'm That's what I'm doing.
No, I get it. No, I'm not saying that I'm expecting this to be on television. I'm just saying your character and everything about this is what I would see. That's what you would see being pushed on those morning talk shows to moms. So like everything about it is good. Like I don't think. I mean, I hope that it would. I think it would be great, but I don't necessarily know if any of us independent guys are at that level anytime soon. But I could see your character being pushed like that because it comes across very innocent. And then if you add in some like woke talking points, whew, you got the golden ticket.
Right? I'll start doing some research. I'm a wolf that keeps clothing, man.
It'll be in every library across the country.
Be like, great, and then we'll do we'll throw a couple cyber fraud cameos in there and stuff.
There you go. Yeah,
we'll be the gateway drug to get the kids over.
It's like the Trojan horse.
Yeah, come see some cool comics.
Gotcha. Yeah. So no, I was just thinking that. So how I see and I put my process together now. How do you see it? Because you actually are drawing and you are an artist. Like, do you see the story in your head, or are you just saying, "Oh, this is a cool image," and you're just drawing cool images?
That's kind of how it's going. Is like, that'd be neat, and then this character would do that. Oh, okay, and then you know what I mean? Because I at first I started like I wanted to do like a father and a daughter, from experience. Like let's do that, And then I was okay. And what if he's a robot? Let's make him a robot because I want to draw a robot today. And it just kind of step by step. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna do this. Cool. I don't like that. Let's try this. And it's just mess around with stuff. Then that'll be a fun image. That'll be cool to draw. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I did a book? Like, what would I write? And I started doing some just simple dialogue for the kids book. Like, okay, cool. And then when I'm writing the dialogue, then I'm seeing the pictures in my head. Oh, cool. This will be this page. That'll be that page. And okay. And then
so are you jumping around? Are you like all over the place?
Kind of. Like when the ideas come, I put them down.
Yeah.
And then I organize them. So right now, when I'm writing the book, because it's like a bedtime story. The first book that I'm working on is going to be a bedtime story. There's no I don't have to worry about too much of.
It's simple dialogue.
It is. It's very simple dialogue, and it's going to be her talking to the reader. Oh, this is my friend. He's a giant robot. I'm big. He's small. Even though we're different, we're friends. He's this. I'm that. He's this. Blah blah blah. And it's going to be like
no, it's super simple. Kids are going to love it. It's great.
Exactly.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Cool. And then I'll worry about, and then I do have a story in my head and the idea for after I do the bedtime book and then I'm going to start doing the kids books will be each like a monster of the week, or like, they fight this type of monster and there will be this lesson. There'll be this monster and there'll be this lesson. There'll be this, and so each thing is going to be its own stuff.
Really like that
story, And then I can always do each one will come with a poster, and then maybe I do 5. Then it's like here's a collected here's a collected works of 5. This is the first 5 books all together in one volume.
Yeah.
So then
you could like title it like 2-minute bedtime stories or something. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a collected work of all of them. Like, because that's how my daughter has. She has like a couple of those books. They're like I think they're like 5-minute bedtime stories or something. It's like that, and there's just a whole bunch of stories in there. So you could not rip off that word, but just in that same kind of idea of like, quick bedtime stories, something in that vein, and having the collected work, I think could be really cool too.
Yeah.
No, and then or like a learning to read book, like instead of specifically bedtime stories, like the collected edition could be marketed towards like first time readers.
Yeah. But that's what it'd be something you could read at your kid, with your kids. It could be something, So like I said, I'm going off of this is a level 3 book, and they're just like one line.
Yep.
There's a line. There's here's your where the hell is it?
Yeah.
Here's your 2 sentences, and
there you go.
Picture.
Yeah. It was like super bright, and I couldn't see it, and then you tilted it down, and I could then see it. Yeah, it's a couple sentences.
What I mean. Moving on. There's a sentence. Yep. There's blah 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 blah. There's your picture. Yep. Cool, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm telling you, man. I think you got something here really special.
But then doing an adventure, taking this and doing like an adventure book. But then they wouldn't mind, something like this. I would read to my kid, when she's young, because you're not reading a book for half an hour to put the kid to sleep.
Yeah,
like she'll pick Peter Rabbit, and I'm looking at the dialogue of Peter Rabbit, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, like. You want to read that? I'm gonna go to sleep reading this.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of them like that for her that she wants to get all the time. I said, no, those are daytime books. I'm not reading that to you. It's like she's got a Pocahontas one and I think a Smurfs one, and I was just like, they're so long. And she does everything she could do to not go to bed. So I'm like, go brush your teeth, go to your room. And then I go find her and she's like standing on her bed, playing swords with her toothbrush and like swashbuckling on her bed. And I was like, this is nowhere close to what I told you to do.
Yes.
And so then bedtime gets extended. And all of a sudden now it's, 10 o'clock and we're just now getting down and she wants to read 5 stories. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's cool. I like that. And the short, simple stories. I definitely think it's really something cool. And especially if being a dad, you can see yourself reading it to your kid. That's even cooler.
Yeah. And what she likes and the stuff that she kind of has been gravitating to has been like stuff like, robots, Big Hero 6, like Octonauts, like stuff like that, where you have like people using stuff and solving problems and helping people. Like that's the stuff that she really likes to watch. She's been watching Ryan's World for the past 2 days, and every once in a while she gets on these binges. And I noticed that when she's watching that, she's kind of been talking back and kind of being a little crappy kid. So I'm gonna
I told you it's all in that programming.
So it's but about Octonauts, she comes up to me and she's like, Daddy, the seahorse, blah blah blah, and she just rattle facts off. I'm like, great, sweetie, like cool. Don't you know that you got to watch out for sea urchins because of it's like okay.
You got turtles in there. You got to get in some He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Get in some He-Man. Get her a sword, and just see how she takes off from there.
She was watching. What were we watching? She watches on Netflix. They have a Minecraft thing that she likes, which is I guess it's like the Telltale game, but they put it on Netflix. So like you're watching it, but then it's like a choose your own adventure. Then they give you choices, 1 or 2 choices that you pick. And then depending on like right in the beginning, they're like, do you want to be the boy or you want to be the girl? And you're like, okay. And then you pick okay, I want to be the boy or the boy. And they have different voices. And then which one you pick? Okay, you're the girl. And then now you're Jesse and you're the girl. And okay. And then you're watching it. So do you want to go take the minecart here? But it's a fun little story, but it's like really long. And so she's been like watching that, and then she's been wanting to run around. So I'll have to get her a Minecraft sword or something. She's looking at those, but stuff like that where she's like, even the Minecraft it's okay, but when she's watching stuff like was Octonauts, and then like Creature Cases is a new one where you have like animals, like the animal detective solving animal problems and stuff. And then but they always they give you stuff. Like educational stuff, like there's like, oh, if you watch out, this is a so-and-so viper and they are poisonous. Like, oh shit, okay, these are Gila monsters, and they once they bite, they never let go until you put them in water. So she's like, Daddy, like she just rattles off facts to me. I'm like, great. Like that's awesome. But it's always like some kind of actiony stuff, but they're always some kind of like cool technology involved. There's like some kind of like neat machines or something where they're using like Paw Patrol. They're using this
incorporate that into your next story. Incorporate that into your next story where the girl like absorbs all the facts and she's just able to implement them.
Mm-hmm.
Into not this one, but the next story. You said the next story is going to be a little bit more complicated, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be more
detailed.
This one's going to be a very introductory. You can read it as a bedtime story, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bedtime story.
Yeah, well, I mean, that might be a cool idea because that's your experience with your kid, and just that absorbing all that information and then regurgitating that. But now imagine, your daughter stuck in a situation where she's like, oh, the Gila monster, put it in the water, like that whole thing, and just write that character. Like, I think that might be fun because it's your own experience. I mean, maybe it won't work. I don't know. But
it'll give her more dimension too as a character.
Yeah.
Which is nice because I think parents could relate to that, especially when kids watch a show and they're watching it and they're into it, then they're just like talking, they just start spouting off stuff about the show and you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, sweetie.
Yeah. So now, and that's definitely a cool process. And it's, and just having that, because it does seem like your kid inspired you a little bit for this, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no. So mine,
she's not listening part and having to figure stuff out on her own,
man. The not listening part's starting to get on my nerves. Like, it's like hardcore. It's like I say the same thing 100 times a day, and then after it, then we're destructive. Like, she's destructive now. Like, and not in the way of like, I have this and let me just break it and whatever. It's the inquisitive, like, how does this work? Oh crap, here, Daddy, it's broken. It's like, oh, stop breaking things.
Yeah, but I hate it, but she's so curious about things. I don't want to kill it either.
Well, the only time I made a big deal was with my stereo. I have this 100-disc CD player. She took a bunch of DVDs and stuffed them in the CD players. They got a carousel in it. So then they got stuck, and then they were in there. So then I come downstairs, and the thing's just going, and as it's going, it's like it's hitting every disc. So these discs are wedged in there now, and they're bending. And some of them are not cheap because they're irreplaceable because they don't make them anymore. So I'm just like, I've told you to ask me. You know, I've been talking through my teeth all the time, and it was that one, and there was something. Oh, pictures off the wall. So I have that. So I have that picture hanging on the door there. Well, on the other side, I took the Jaws poster that I had on there. I just put it on the outside of it, and I come upstairs one day, and I was like, something's off. And I go, what the heck? And I look. She had yanked it down, just took it right off. I didn't put a nail in it. I literally just used a thumbtack, and the thumbtack was snapped in half. Like, she snapped it, and by yanking it down. And I go in, and I go, "What are you doing?" And she's got the poster in her room. She goes, "I want this now."
This is mine now.
I said, that's not how this works. And so then I put it back, and we've never had an issue again. But then, like a week later, she has her entire room is like covered. Like, she has this Beauty and the Beast tapestry, like literally woven tapestry. It's huge. I've got that hanging up in her room. Like, she's got Supergirl, Back to the Future, because she loves all the cool stuff. And she's got Ghostbusters and like that stuff. And then she's got her Disney princesses. And so there's all these pictures all over the wall. Never really an issue. And then this is a week after the Jaws incident. I go in her room, and I'm like, what the heck are you doing? She had yanked the Back to the Future poster down, and she had put it on her bed. And then she was talking to it because she could see her reflection into it. And she was talking to it. And I go, what the heck are you doing? She goes, I'm a YouTube. And I said, that's not a proper sentence. And no, you're not. And she goes, this is my TV, and I'm a YouTube. I said, no, you're not. And so then I took it, and she had snapped the metal hanging tab to hang it up. She had snapped it off. She yanked the whole thing down. And all I did was I just took it off of her bed and set it aside. And I didn't even yell or anything. I was mad. I'm getting mad at the breaking things. And I didn't yell. She starts yelling at me. It's just like, I was like, you can go to bed now. I'm over you. Just go to bed. But yeah, the breaking things is getting ridiculous. And most of the time it's the inquisitive. But then there's random times where she just yanked the pictures off the wall. And then I ask why. I felt like it. This is what I wanted to do today. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, she's always like, hey guys. My daughter's like, hey guys. She's like, and she just starts talking about to herself. Like, she's on in front of a camera, like on YouTube. Hey guys, today we're going to play with Legos, and it's just playing with Legos.
She does the same thing. So mine has taken my laptop to the point where I actually don't know where it is right now because I keep having to take it from her, and she has been recording herself on the laptop, and she makes videos, and she does this funny thing, man, because she talks really fast and she won't slow down. So she talks really fast. She sounds like she has a lisp, like she's got something wrong with her because she talks so fast sometimes. So she's like, leave the comments down below and please subscribe. She's always saying that. I'm just like dying because you don't know what's going on, but you do. She's like, leave the comments down below and please subscribe. And she's like, hello, everybody. Hello. Or she's like, welcome to my channel. Yep. And then she goes, and then she's copied me because she's one of my biggest fans. She actually goes and watches my videos all the time. And then when I do videos with you guys now and we do the streams, she's like, oh, this morning, oh man, she had me cracking up. She goes, oh, that guy's your friend? And I said, yeah, it's my friend. We're just hanging out. She goes, oh, good. I'm glad you have a friend. Like she was treating me like a loser. It's just like, oh, thanks, kid. She's clapping for me. She's like, yay, I'm glad you have a friend. It's just like, thanks, buddy. Yeah, no, she's definitely funny with that. But yeah, she does the same. She makes her own videos, and she steals a laptop for it, which is horrible. But no, she's been something, man. Like, and mostly I think it's just her mom being on deployment. It's like really affected her because she's rolling into that being more independent thing. So then it's almost like she's like trying to take on the motherly role, because there's been a couple times like while I'm eating dinner, she's like trying to tell me, she's like, don't chug your water, don't chug it. I'm like, one, I'm not. Two, I'm 40, I can do whatever I want. Oh, you know, and then she's like, you have to eat this first. Like, what? Like, so she is in that like 5 going on 45 attitude, but no, it's
we were funny. Streaming late that one time. I think it might have been the first time we really were like streaming late. She came in, she's like, you have to go to bed right now. She's like, you should not be up. You have to go to sleep.
That's fun.
And speaking of which, I do gotta call it a day.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem.
It was a fun stream today.
Yeah, no, it was real fun. Yeah, and I liked your intro. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it came up pretty nice. I put the Neo Geo arcade cabinet overlay. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing something similar, but then you did it, so now I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna. So what I was gonna do is I was just gonna, and so I put it on Twitter today because you did the other thing. I took a picture of all my stuff here, and I was gonna put that as my thing, but then I was gonna take the old movies that I still keep putting in my things, and I was just gonna stick them in my television.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to do. And then I was like, you kind of did that. So I was like, I might still do it later, but.
Yeah, you could totally do it. It's different.
Yeah. No, I know, but I just felt like it's like, oh man, it's kind of the same thing. So I might wait, and I'll still probably do it later, but yeah. No, it was really cool. I like the intro.
Cool. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad. It was something neat. I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. All right, brother. I will catch you later.
You bet. Thanks for stopping by, man.
I'm doing a Thursday. Or wait, was I doing Thursday? Yeah, Monday, Thursday. So it's a Thursday show. I don't know if you're going to be around for that or what you got going on.
Okay.
I don't plan on going late Thursday either. I mean, maybe around this time or earlier. If you got to cut out early, you can. Like, don't bother me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Saturday, just looking for new comics. Like that's going to be the whole goal of the show is new Indiegogo campaigns. Like they were talking about Alterna comics, like that whole thing. Like those books are like $1.99 a piece.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on their floppies. It's everything we've been talking about. But then my crazy brain is I don't want floppies. Like I want the collected edition. So even though that's the goal is to get the cheap floppies to get it in people's hands and more people into it, I don't want floppies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got all kinds of they got hats and merchandise and all that stuff. But yeah. All right, man. I'll definitely catch you later. I don't know what we're gonna do Thursday. We'll just figure it out. But yeah, it was fun. Definitely fun, man.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you have a closeout yet or no?
Nope. I might just play the intro again.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll catch you later.
Catch you later, my man. All right. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let's do this. Boop. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. If you haven't subscribe, hit that like button. I'm going to try and do this every Tuesday. The day might change because everybody's apparently streaming closeouts and all types of stuff. But theme of the show is going to be art jams. Come in, show your art. We'll work on art. We'll just talk and have fun. But I do want to thank you all for coming on in. And as always, take it easy. I won't even worry about playing the outro. Night, everybody.